favourites. Jessica Mendoza, Penelope Le Provost at 5s, and Holly Gillett was the big market mover for those of you that follow the money. She's been back today, and William Whitaker at 6-1, and same as Marcus Enning. He's another one who's come in for a little bit of support today. So the bookmakers are having quite a tough task, but certainly one of the favourites with the home crowd, with you as well, I'm sure, and with the bookmakers is Ben Mayer, who's been speaking to Hannah.
Ben, you won the King George V Gold Cup 2 years ago. What did that win mean to you?
It was very special for a number of reasons. Triple X we bred, and the first sort of major win I had in this big ring in a Grand Prix. It was one on the list that everybody wants to win, and I finally got that win.
And where does it rank on your list of personal achievements?
It's definitely up there in the top 3 or 4, I think. It was a memorable day, and sometimes it's not the class that you win, it's how you win it, and I just felt that my horse improved through the week, and it's definitely something that will stay with me forever.
You're riding Diva this afternoon, in great form at the moment with 2 clear rounds in the Nations Cup. How's she feeling?
She feels great this week. We gave her a rest before coming here and double clear in the Nations Cup. It wasn't the original plan actually to jump today's Grand Prix. We were going to bring another horse, and she felt great yesterday, fresh, moving good. So we decided that she's in form, we should make the most of it. So she'll be back in today, and then the last round hopefully before European Championship selection.
And with those European Championships in mind, how do you feel about your chances of getting on the team?
I hope it's good. The pressure was on a little bit on Friday to produce rounds, and we did the best we could do really, and I think Diva's proved this year that she's more than capable, and really would like to be part of that team to try and help qualify for the Olympic Games.
Thanks very much, Ben. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, it would be great to see Ben win again, wouldn't it? The band are in the arena here entertaining the crowd. There's a real sense of occasion here at the All England jumping course, and certainly getting the crowd G'd up and ready for action. Now, we heard from Ben there, Andy. He's won it before, so he doesn't have that pressure on his shoulders. But in Diva, he seems to have got a partner that's really coming to the fore.
Diva had terrific form earlier this year and tailed off a little bit a couple of months ago, and then Ben gave her a break, which he said he needed to do, and she's come out firing on all 4 cylinders here. So I think she's back to her best, and she's very capable of winning today, definitely.
Yeah, so Ben's got a good chance. I think that would go down quite well, wouldn't it, if Ben were able to win today. Beezy Madden, though, what can you say about one of the best lady riders in the world?
She loves riding in these big rings because she's a very forward rider, and that suits Cortez. He's got all the scope, all the power.
Didn't go to plan really on Friday in the jump off, but that was just unfortunate.
Yeah, she was first to go in that jump off of 3, and she really went for it. Span into the double perhaps a bit too tight, and it went wrong. But I actually don't think that will really affect her.
No, I think she's a cool customer. I don't think it'll be too much of a hindrance to her hopes of retaining the title. Jessica Mendoza is a rider you've heard us mentioning. You may not have seen too much of Jess. She's now based in Holland. She's here with a very, very good chance. It's not just Andy and I that think she's got a great chance. She's second favourite at the bookmakers.
Definitely, and the thing about Jess is she's a young girl, but she's very, very mature, always been super cool under pressure. So she's not one of those riders that will come in here and worry about it. She'll be looking forward to it and just get on with the job. And she's so capable, and she's proved that all season. She's had a great season so far.
Yeah, she's certainly got a good chance, Jess, today, and I think she'll be one to watch anyway. She's a very, very stylish rider. Well, a little bit earlier, Hannah caught up with Jess.
Jessica, King George V Gold Cup this afternoon. How are you feeling ahead of the class?
Looking forward to it. She's on good form, so I'm hoping she goes clear.
Some very, very big names in the class. What does it feel like going up against some of the most famous riders in the sport?
I guess it's hard, but all I can do is my best.
And you've had a look at the course. There's some tricky combinations in there. What are you going to be on high alert for?
The double of gates after the water, that looks hard, and yeah, the double of ditches up the top. I think everything, really.
It's a challenging class. We wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. Oh, lovely. And she really isn't wrong, because there are problems all over this course. Let's have a little look at the plan now with Andy. Andy.
So let's have a look at the course for the King George. There's the first fence, fairly straightforward oxer. There shouldn't be too many problems there. Downhill to a very delicate plank, and then immediately they have to come inside, keeping a quick time up. Big vertical, 7 strides uphill to this huge oxer, and this is actually then sloping downhill, 1 stride coming out, 2 strides going in. coming up to the water, they need to jump this massive water on the right-hand side because they need to try to get a line into this double of gates. 8 strides there, 1 stride in the middle. It's not short, but it's 160 coming out, and then 6 strides straight down to the next oxer. Again, keeping up a good rhythm to get inside the time allowed. The biggest fence on the course, the next vertical at 160. 6 strides uphill here to a huge oxer, and then this very tricky line, the Hickstead planks, 160. 8 strides committed into the famous double of ditches, a vertical over the first one, short stride to a massive oxer coming out, and then after that last fence, just to see if they've still got any jump left, big oxer to finish.
Well, that's a look at it in theory. Andy, let's talk about it in practice, because we're standing by this massive water.
Yeah, this water is 4 metres wide and it's uphill and it's blue and very scary. And if you don't ride it positively with a lot of pace, you're just not going to get over it.
And it's a little bit mean. It's away from the collecting ring today. Let's walk away from this then, Andy. So there's the water, but there are problems soon after.
Yeah, what you've got to do is ride the water with a lot of confidence and pace. Don't hold back. But when you land, you want to make sure you land on the right-hand side of the water, because you've got this looping turn into the double of gates. And when you've jumped the water, your horse is going to be very heavy in the hand, they're going to be strong, and they're going to be going quite quickly. To jump these gates, you need control, and you need to slow the horses right down. So you've got 8 strides to regain your balance, and you're going downhill, which makes it doubly more difficult.
And just to top all that off as well, Andy, as we walk into these gates now, I mean, I know I'm not statuesque, but they are pretty big.
Well, you're 5'2" and the gate's 5'2".
So it's big enough, so you're basically galloping into the water. You've 8 strides to compose yourself to jump this, and the second element's even bigger.
Yeah, this first element is split, as is the second element, so it's very light.
Explain that to us.
Well, if you look at me wobbling the top bit, it can come off very, very easily because it's very light. Flat cups.
Yeah.
And then you've got 1 stride, and then you've got an even bigger gate, which is 1.60 meters.
And then a pretty big fence after that as well.
Yeah, so this is a very tough line. Balance after the water, very delicate gates, and then a massive oxer. It's going to take a lot of jumping.
And how often would you see something like this on the world stage?
Very rarely. This is pretty unique to Hickstead. The double of gates, practically never see them anywhere else.
Yeah, and they are rather sizable, aren't they? If you were cantering into these, I think you'd know about it. Not the only problems on the course, though, Andy, as well. There's the famous Hickstead water ditches.
What they've done this year, which is different, is the big Hickstead planks are right up to 1.60 meters, and towards the end of the course when horses are tiring, they're a little bit spooky in front of the stand, going 8 strides down to the double of ditches, which always causes a problem if horses haven't seen them before.
Yep, they are. They're fairly intimidating. There's also a combination running downhill. That's not particularly kind either. So, as you can see, there could be issues all over the course. We'll find out when the live action gets underway, but before it does, let's hear now from last year's winner, Beezie Madden.
Beezie, you were the first woman to win this historic class. Where does that rank in your list of achievements?
It was huge last year. You know, it was a selection trial basically for the WEG for us, and to come do that here and be the first woman was amazing.
Cortez seems to like it here. How's he feeling after the Nations Cup on Friday?
He feels good still. He's happy. He's generally a happy horse, so and I think he likes it here. So hopefully he's on form again.
You've just been walking the course. Some quite tricky fences in there, that double of ditches. Are you feeling confident?
Yeah, he's jumped them before, but you know, even if having done that, they're always difficult. The double of gates after the water is always a tricky thing, and yeah, there's plenty of places out there to have faults.
And just finally, how much do you enjoy jumping here at Hickstead? Because it's a really special showground.
Oh, I love it. The crowd is fantastic. This year the weather's been awesome, and yeah, nothing better.
We wish you the very best of luck. Thanks very much, Beezie.
Thanks.
So 42 riders taking on the challenge of the King George V Gold Cup. Here are the first few for you as well. Harriet Nuttall, she's a popular face here. She's on one of the slightly bigger price horses, a touch imperious. But a very strong lineup. You've got Douglas Duff in there. Robert Bevis has been in good form. Keith Shaw, Joe Clee, he's one to watch out for as well. And of course John Whittaker, he's as popular as ever. And Beezie Madden, she's 16 to go on Cortez C. Ben Mayer is one of the joint favourites. Then he rides Diva. Christian Ullman, we've got good rider from America, Todd Minkus as well. Jessica Mendoza will be 20th. Wouldn't it be great for Trevor Breen to win on Adventure de Canaan, one of the only competitions to elude him here at Hickstead. Plot Blue may be getting on in years, but he's still got plenty of ability, and he's been supported into 6-1. And a little bit further down as well, Shane Breen, he's a real favourite here. Guy Williams loves it round here. Pier Giorgio Bucci, he's been a winner this week. Spencer Rowe, one to watch. Laura Kraut, wow, what a lineup. It really is top class. And William Whittaker, one of the latest, with Uncle Michael last to go in the lineup. So, first rider coming into the ring, looking forward to this fantastic competition in the company of Andy Austin and Mike Tucker.
Yes, the talking virtually done and the action about to get underway. Big field, 42 in all, and 5 previous winning riders in the field who've won it 10 times in all. So the scene set for the classic that the King George V Gold Cup is all about. The going perfect. The course designers really have utilised this famous arena so well. The terrain, as we've talked to you over the full 3 days here, plays such a big part. And the famous fences, like the double ditches, like the gates, really built in to this fabulous course for 2015. Time allowed, 82 seconds. Andy back alongside me. Time, do you think, going to play a part, Andy?
It's always impossible to tell because every course is different. There are definitely inside turns that the riders have to make. When I spoke to Kelvin Bywater, who built the course, he said if you don't take the inside turns, you definitely will get time faults, and they will have to keep up a decent pace.
Well, it's America that gets us underway. Americans who've won this twice in the last 4 years. Kent Farrington in 2011, and then, of course, Beasy, one of the 5 previous winners last year, the holder. But it's Charlie Jane, very experienced, very successful, I might add, too. And he's the one who's going to get us underway, riding this 12-year-old Chalano Z horse, Chill RZ. Charlie Jane, to get us underway then, the famous Hickstead klaxon goes for the first of possibly 42 challenging for what is 200,000 euros in the pot altogether. Quite a pot of gold.
So all the riders coming later on in the draw will be watching very closely to see the pace and the line that he takes to check the time allowed. So inside the table, that's a must. Back to this third fence. Comes very quickly, and you can see that's a tall vertical. That's gone already. How's this combination going to jump? There's a tall vertical in the middle after 2 strides and 1 stride, and that, it's difficult to tell from those shots. It's very deceptively downhill. Well, he's got 9 strides there into the double, so there's plenty of room to make your mind up. Very committed distance, and that's a fence that could cause a few problems. It's downhill, it's a committed 6 strides, and there are no fillers in front of that fence, Mike, so they don't get backed up in the air.
And the colours of that fence, because they tend to sort of...
Don't stand out.
They don't, exactly that.
That's a very good point. Now, this is a fascinating line here. These planks are right up there at 160. Well, he gets the 8 strides. You see it's short in the middle, but the ditch will back the horses up in the air.
Time allowed 82 seconds.
Yeah, and
he's going to be over. No, he's going to be over. So there we are. Interesting first round. 2 down, 8 jumping, and then a time fault to add as well. That's 9 in all then for the American, the first to go in the Longines King George V Gold Cup.
OK, well, the 2 things we've learnt, just looking at number 3, that really does sit up and take a lot of jumping uphill. And then suddenly you go downhill. This fence, we didn't really take too much notice of it when we walked the course, but Mike made that very good point that it doesn't really stand out and get the horses in the air.
One out from the Netherlands. Remember the Netherlands world champions after that great team performance in Caen, France last year, and it's the first of a strong the juniors, young riders, and has really now made a big mark in Dutch show jumping. Hasn't had any championship call-ups yet, but one feels that it won't be very long. 14 years old, this, by Cassini, for the Dutch, Willem Greve.
Certainly that second fence is no gimme at all. It's very light, it's downhill, and it's narrow, which makes it even harder to jump.
Yes, and a fence that was in the Olympic Games in Greenwich, London, replicating the famous Vale of the White Horse.
Now that's an interesting tactic. Inside to the... Another rider going for the 9 strides. I think that's quite an easy option. So it'll be interesting to see how William's time pans out, because he's not kept up a great pace, but he's taken a shorter route to the water. And although he's having the odd fence down, the riders watching this, we're just trying to work out whether that is an option worth taking. Well, this is very close to that 82 seconds, but he's just made it.
So that's an interesting situation, isn't it? Cuts inside of the water. You'll need a good water jumper that can really power off the ground, get up in the air. It's right up there in spread, but if you've got a horse, you can definitely save time there.
Second fence, just a light touch, doesn't take much dislodging. But interesting, just having a look at this line to the water. Coming inside, coming on the angle. Now he's obviously very confident in the way his horse jumps water. It's just the other, that's the biggest fence on the course. Up the hill coming down as well.
Yes, a lovely picture of one of the most famous trophies there is in the world, and the most valuable too. Goes all the way back to 1911. As the next we see a young lady from Dorset, Harriet Nuttall, with his big, powerful chestnut, a touch imperious. Got a very good record in this arena. Went well in the famous Hickstead Derby, but has been definitely out of form in the last 2 or 3 weeks. And that rather backs that up again, sadly.
Speaking to Father Rupert, he did say to me that he didn't think the horse is in great form, and unfortunately, he's dead right. Not taking part today, so that's another rider gone, and this track's causing a few problems.
Yes, and that is disappointing to see, because they're a young combination that have been successful both at home and abroad whenever they've been on international trips. And the horse is really, at the moment, seems to have taken a bit of a dislike to. I'm sure he'll be back.
Yeah, I think he needs to regroup, drop down a level, and he'll be back.
So lots to come. Interesting start. There's no doubt that the 2015 Longines King George V is going to be a classic. Make sure you stay right with us.
The facilities are second to none, I think, with the new and the old. I look for a horse with a good head, a good eye, a good walk, trot, canter, which equals a horse with a very good balance. The owners are so important. I go out and I source a really nice young horse, produce it. The investors have been delighted with their return. So if you want to be a part of the Breen team and be involved with top flight show jumping, it'll be great to hear from you.
background to this famous arena that is absolutely bathed in sunshine, and a crowd already on the edge of their seats. It's a really top-class field, 13 out of the world's top 50, with so much show jumping about. That's a very good ratio to be here contesting this King George V. And in fact, the first we see in this next session, a man who hasn't been at the top of show jumping in recent seasons, but he is a world-class jockey. As you can see, the crowd really making the most of English summer at last. The ice creams are out in a big way, and business is good. So 3 gone, 1 on 9, 1 on 8, and then 1 eliminated. And here comes now Juan Carlos Garcia, a man who came over from Colombia many years ago now, probably the best part of 20 years ago, if not more. Competed in France for a while and then based himself in Italy, where he got citizenship for Italy and has jumped on their teams and been a big part of top-class show jumping. Juan Carlos. Actually, he's also been 3-day eventing, rode in the Europeans at Fontainebleau back in 2009. Got a bronze medal for Italy there in the team section. And now he's back at the top of show jumping in Italy. Juan Carlos Garcia then, Coccodrillo, 12-year-old stallion by Corrado. Well, we haven't heard or seen too much of at the top of show jumping in recent years, but he's certainly a very good operator.
That third fence definitely taking a lot of jumping. It's nothing there, no fillers, it's uphill, and it's after a sharp turn that breaks the horse's rhythm. It certainly looks to be tricky. Spooking at the water. I know he jumped right over to the right. Now I don't know whether he cleared it, but he's in. Flag's been raised, and the double of gates first element going as well. So we knew this was a tough course, and it's certainly looking that way at the moment.
Certainly a horse with a lot of scope and a lot of ability, Andy, but doesn't seem to really want to take hold of the bridle and go forward.
No, he got very unsettled at the water, and he's not really liking these double of ditches, but brilliantly well ridden. But he's going to be just over the time as well.
Just the one time fault. 82 seconds, remember that time allowed. So 12 jumping on one time, making it a total of 13 for Italy's Juan Carlos Garcia. Italy, who've had 2 wins here at the International, 2 wins yesterday.
It's funny, when the horses spook at the water, they always jump to the same side. They jump this way to the right when they're going that way, and when they're going the other way, they jump to the left. The horses always move out to the side, and he landed on the tape.
Well, now it's the turn of 26-year-old Holly Gillett. Has been in the Nations Cups teams that have been successful this year under Di Lampard. Has looked a really exciting prospect for the team on this very good horse, Doogie Douglas, in the Nations Cup team on Friday. Sadly, didn't show their very best. This will be very interesting, because it was thought the horse was off colour. I understand the vet did take a look at him yesterday, but the very fact that he's jumping today must mean that they are happy with him.
No, you're quite right, Mike. The vet did have a look at him. They said there was nothing wrong with him. He's fine to jump. And he started off in the Nations Cup just very tense over the first few jumps, and all his faults were early on in the course. So it's going to be fascinating to see how he starts.
Well, interestingly enough, Andy, the grand jury here, the actual judges of this, have extended the time allowed by 2 seconds. Gone to 84 seconds, which I think I'm right in saying means that Charlie Jane and Juan Carlos Garcia will both lose their time faults.
Yeah, and the judges do have that option to do that, and I think that's probably a good decision, because the track's tough enough. We don't need a particularly tight time. So then it's easier for the riders to gallop round to the water which is exactly what Holly Gillett has done. So just that second fence down, there's no clears at the moment. Certainly the first element of those gates, they're going to come down quite a few times during this competition.
And would your guess be, Andy, that Di Lampard, the team manager, putting Holly in here in the King George V, with perhaps giving her another chance probably to grab a place at the European Championships in Aachen?
Yeah, absolutely. There's everything still to play for. He obviously didn't jump as well. You know, Di said he didn't jump as well as they expected, but he's actually jumped a tidy round. A bit unlucky at the last fence.
But nicely inside that time, which you say again has been extended, but it is a total of 12. First King George V for Holly Gillett. Big occasion for this lady, but certainly she seemed to have had a very good temperament in her career so far. Interesting rounds. They're out in the collecting ring warming up. A very important part, particularly with a course like this that is obviously going to take some jumping. But it's a big prize pot and one of the classic individual titles there is in the world. Well, now the Dutch is Jo Vreeling, an important member of that silver medal team in London and again in the Worlds in Cork when they won gold. He's ranked 17 in the world, and this is a horse that has taken him up there. BDL's Rocco Blue, experienced horse now by Mr. Blue. Jo Vreeling, he doesn't win a lot of big competitions, but he's always there to be relied upon.
Yeah, Rocco Blue had a bit of a break, and my Dutch friends, my spies in Holland, tell me that this horse just a little warm-up show, which is his first show for a while last week. But this is a world-class horse and a world-class rider, so we haven't seen anyone get anywhere near jumping clear so far, but this is one that's definitely in with a shout. Brilliantly over the water. Very smooth and comfortable down the 6 strides there. This is looking good. Now, this fence is tough. It's the biggest fence on the course, and then you see a quality horse like Rocco Blue made absolutely nothing of that. This is a great round up to this point. Little rattle going in. He's left it. He's okay for time, and he's jumped last.
Riser indeed, and interestingly enough, they're finishing well inside the time as the judges have extended that time, but there is our first clear round, and I think those early horses rather struggle. I must say he does make it look fairly comfortable.
Yeah, Jo Vreeling, top-class rider, top-class horse. They actually made the track look quite easy. Just had one moment, just a tiny rub. That was probably a bit lucky, looking at that again. That was his only dodgy moment, but a really good clear round.
Well, that'll certainly put the riders' minds at rest, I would suggest, as in comes Scotland's Douglas Duffin. With Kidam, BZ, 12-year-old. This man has been on fire in the last few weeks. Started with a very good trip down to Royal Norfolk, where he picked up a good win down there, and then won an absolute classic to win the famous Great Yorkshire Championship, the Cock of the North. One of 4 clear rounds in that final round, and he absolutely blitz round to take the title.
Well, it might not sound a lot, but those extra couple of seconds added onto the time do make quite a big difference. And, hopefully, I don't think we should see too many riders have time faults. You see there, great move, going round to the water, but opening up the pace. Had to work really hard, and you see how much pace he had. He took the forward 8 strides and and just didn't quite get balance. And again, down the hill, we've spoken about that gradient factor, caught him out. I must say, Joe Vreeling is right out there on his own. None of the other riders getting too close to a clear. And this is another level of competition from what we've seen this week, and it's only the real class quality combinations that are going to jump clear around here.
Is exactly what the King's Cup should be about, as Scotland's Douglas Duffin, been a big winner up there for many years, ends up with 2 down on that 8 faults. Kidambi Z, and in this sort of company he can go away from Hickstead feeling that he's done a pretty good job here.
Yeah, it's quite difficult for Douglas here because he jumped the water and his horse just took a little bit of a hold, and as we spoke earlier before class started, if you can't get your hocks back underneath you, that gate is so hard to jump.
Well, actually, Bob Ellis, very good honour today for all the work he's done to international show jumping, very popular. It is actually a Kelvin Bywater course, but Kelvin and Bob work very closely together. Bob, the assistant today, the boy. Well, now Belgium's Pierre de Vos, Delano, the horse that and rider that brought great glory and celebrations to Belgium after their Prince of Wales Nations Cup victory here on Friday. Went in the jump-off, having had 2 rounds where he faltered in both. And actually they changed the bridle, and he pleaded with his chef de keep, Dirk de Meersman, give me another chance, I'll win it for Belgium, and my word, he did. Now, what can he do today?
Well, he should probably ride this round the way he rode the jump-off, because his horse jumped brilliantly flat out against the clock. And he started well. He's opening up the pace here. He's going to gallop at the water. Just a bit untidy with the front legs. And this horse got massive scope, but if you watch the technique, it doesn't always snap the front legs clean enough. Now, interestingly, he went for time there, because with very few clears, a fast 4 faults could possibly draw quite a lot of prize money, but he paid for it. Well, 1 clear round, Mike, and the rest are not looking too hot.
No, it's all about jumping, which is exactly what this classic should be about. Great history over the years. As he finishes nicely inside the time, but with 2 down, Belgium's Pierre de Vos and Delano on that 8 faults. Still only that 1 clear round from the Netherlands, Joe Vreeling, the Rocco Blue.
The next of the British challengers now, and Robert Bevis with the 40-year-old Courtney Zett.
Well, a competition that started as long ago as 1911 was lost actually from those horrendous years of World War I from 1915 to 1920, but has been competed for ever since. The trophy has been out of the country for a number of occasions. We'll give you some of those names. And the Broome name, as we learnt yesterday in the Queen's Cup, that, of course, Liz Broome, Liz Edgar as she is now, she won that trophy 5 times, and brother David has won the King George V 6 times, the biggest number of wins by one rider. But now, a man with a lot of class from just the edge of the Welsh-Cheshire border, Robert Bevis, Courtney Zedd, finished 4th in the big ranking class here yesterday. A combination very much on form. Courtney Zedd, he would love to put his name up in lights here. And they're a combination that certainly has shown some form at the right time.
Just a little bit forward there for Rob into the double of gates. Started so well and just clipped the top element. Now with only one clear, Rob's got to really concentrate now and see if he can get home on 4 faults.
This man's got a very good jumping brain. He'll know exactly what he's got to do.
Got to try to get a reasonably quick time, but he's got to have clear from here on in to have a chance of some decent prize money.
8 or 9 years ago, he finished 4th. He knows what it's all about. It's a good round, good and a pretty unlucky position, one has to say. It's 4 in 80.54, and how good will that be? But the one that's clear at the moment leading is the Dutchman, Joe Vreeling, talking to Hannah.
Joe, you made that look very easy. You must have been very happy with that round.
Yeah, very happy. It's an amazing good stallion, and a good horse makes it a lot easier.
And Rocco's had a bit of a break recently, so he's come back strong.
Yeah, he had a little abscess in his hoof, and that had to come out. It took 8 days off, and then we took it a little bit longer to have him fit for the Europeans in here. And yeah, I had to ride here very good to qualify myself for the Europeans, and I hope and I think I'm in now.
Thanks very much.
Welcome.
I think he's absolutely right there. So that was Joe Vreeling, the one clear round so far in the King's Cup. And we're off to the Dutch contingent again. Another very experienced rider, Jan van der Schaans, man who's been in the Dutch team, the Europeans of 2001 in Arnhem. And he rides a very good horse, Cape Town, 12-year-old horse that used to be in the Gerkestrader team. But when Eurocommerce horses were sold, this was a horse that came Jan's way. Very capable, big jumping horse from the Netherlands, Jan van der Schaans.
As you say, one very experienced Dutch rider already clear, but not for Wout. Yeah, the middle part of that combination, we thought it might come down a bit more often, but these gates have really taken their toll. And again,
I think you need to bring the super glue out.
it's the classic test of opening the horses up, running horses downhill, and then very light, delicate fences. It's so incredibly difficult. I mean, I think when you walk the course, anyone gets a chance to walk a course as big as this, it's quite a shock to the system when you actually get up close to them.
There's no doubt about that.
Do you not find that, Mike, when you look at them?
I certainly do.
You know,
But I think the other factor that is really interesting, Andy, is that Joe Vreeling's lovely grey horse, and he's retiring.
Yeah.
He's retiring. Joe Vreeling has a very good water jumper in Zirocco Blue. He didn't have to put his foot flat to the boards to jump in. He used the power of the horse without using the speed of the horse, so he was able to bring it back under control. So that's disappointment for Jan van der Schaans. He retires, chance well gone. So here is the situation in the early first quarter of the 2015 Longines King George V Gold Cup. There is just the one clear round, and that is from Joe Vreeling. Joe Vreeling with Kidam BZ. Just 1 on 4 faults, and that's Robert Bevis. There it is, Robert Bevis, 4 faults in 80.54. And the third man, Willem Grave, he's on 8. So that's as is Peter Dievos and Douglas Duffin. Time separates them. So that's the early position, and at the moment, no jump off, but it'll come, I'm sure.
Boomerang is coming to Hickstead, Saturday 12th and Sunday 13th of September. 2 days of live music in the Sussex countryside, featuring Simple Minds, The Proclaimers, Jessie J and The Vamps. Get your tickets at boomeranghickstead.com.
Easybed is celebrating 15 years as the UK's leading supplier of dust-free equine bedding. Made in the UK from 100% clean, recycled wood, it's not only environmentally friendly, but it's also supportive, free draining and quicker to muck out. Easybed helps look after the health and comfort of your horse, which is one of the reasons it's used by world-class equestrians. Find out more at easybed.co.uk.
Welcome back to the Royal International Horse Show. There is one of the course builders, Bob Ellis. He's a regular fixture here at Hickstead at the All England Jumping Course. And a little bit earlier today, Bob was awarded with the Dorian Williams Trophy, presented to him by Mrs. Dorian Williams. And it's awarded to the person who's contributed the most to this year's show. It's his 40th Royal International Horse Show, so congratulations to Bob. Next rider in the arena, 10 gone, 1 clear. Here's Keith Shaw.
Yes, and before we see Keith Shaw, I wonder, Alex, whether Bob has dried out, because you'd hardly call him, say, his colleagues, but everybody grabbed him and put Bob in the water jump. You never know, we might see some pictures of that later, perhaps. Well, now Keith Shaw, a man again with a tremendous record in British show jumping, real competitor, works very hard. Keith Shaw, who won a very big two-star Grand Prix up in Cheshire at Southview recently. He's another rider on form in the British circuit. Keith Shaw with the Mystic Hurricane. It's a 12-year-old. He's certainly experienced, and he will give it his full 100% effort, no doubt about that.
Keith Shaw, one of those incredibly effective riders. Not a household name, but anyone in the sport knows just how good he is. He's a prolific winner of speed classes, and he's a very, very good rider. Fantastically ridden through the gates, really picked his horse up. So, we're looking for our first British clear round. Oh, that big vertical, just with that pace that Keith was keeping up, just caught him out.
Now the time here becomes interesting, because if he stays on 4 faults, and he doesn't, he would have had to have beaten 80.54 to keep ahead of Rob Bevis, who's the second place man at the moment. He's a man who loves going hunting across the country during the winter, and he's a great man to follow too, and he nearly jumped a very good round, but he finishes on 8, which at the moment is the average score of the 11 horses we've seen in this first round of the Longines King George V so far.
Well, having jumped the double of gates so well, we thought he was away, but here he is turning up the hill to this. That's the biggest vertical on the course. Didn't get the shoulders up. That was a great effort. It just flattened again, touched forward at the plank. So it was a really good effort from Keith there.
And I certainly agree with that. Well, on this wonderful roll of honour, Italy's name comes up on many occasions. The great Piero Denzeo, Uruguay the Rock, he won it 3 times. His brother too, Raimondo, he very nearly won it, but didn't quite. They've got a great track of years in the 1960s when the Denzeos won glory in this competition for Italy. This is a young man who looked very impressive when he won the Speed Classic here last night. Lorenzo De Luca, big winner at Lumen International 5-star competition at the end of April. He's riding Erco Vantura-Sacca. Certainly one of the new generation of Italian jumpers who look very promising for the future.
A very stylish rider, riding this massive stallion by Darko, and you can see Darko's really stamped him. Very powerful, but will he have the control after the water? Oh, and he went for the level 8 stride, sat quietly, and those double gates, if the horses haven't seen them before, literally froze on takeoff. I don't think the jockey saw that one coming, because he sat so quietly there, Luca, and he just did not, Lorenzo De Luca, he just didn't see it coming.
A very experienced Hans Horn is their team trainer. He'll have something to say about that.
I mean, he was a fraction off. I mean, the 8 strides is a touch forward, but he didn't feel his horse backing up, and he didn't put any extra squeeze or leg on, and the horse froze. That's a horrible moment, but those gates, they're causing some havoc today.
Well, you'd probably expect it to be absolutely fair.
We did.
But he didn't have a good situation in the Nations Cup on Friday. 2 rounds on this horse, 1 for 12 and 1 for 9. Italy, who finished 8th of 8. But he looked of such a different rider last night in that Speed Classic.
Once things have gone wrong, you see how the horses very quickly get a bit disorientated. He's retiring very sensibly so. Well, the old Hickstead factor is certainly working here.
Yes, but I think, you know, this is truly one of the great classics around the world, that if you looked at the top 10, even the top 6, this competition would be in those, Andy. So I think, you know, we can expect this from some of the less experienced competitors.
Yeah, no, we're not surprised by it at all, but this is a true test, and it's a tough course.
Well, this will be interesting because it's Joe Clee who's been very much part of Di Lampard's plans, and he's already put in some great performances this year in some of that wonderful early season form for our team. Remember, we won the Nations Cup both in La Baule and then also in Rotterdam, and Joe was part of that success. Joe Clee, who was last year on the Nations Cup team and then got a call up to go to the Worlds in France. That will be a tournament that he would have wanted to learn from, but would have also liked to perhaps forget, because it wasn't a great championship for Britain. But this will be a really interesting round with those European Championships in mind. Joe Clee, who's based on the continent with the Diablesse de Meuse.
Well, Joe was away from this arena for 13 years. He moved abroad. He's had phenomenal success, and it's proved to be a really good move for him. And he said it was quite emotional to be back in this ring after 13 years, having been a local lad. And this horse, just back into the big time, having had a year out. A very talented chestnut mare. Oh, he's flying into those gates. I don't think he wanted that stride. He'd obviously made a plan to keep coming, but that really didn't work out. Absolutely flew into them, all the balance was gone, and mowed out both parts. Well, we keep saying this is a tough test, and it really is proving to be so.
Over the last quick time was the speed that Joe got in 1 or 2 places on that course rather reflected. But in all, 12 with those 3 fences down for Joe Clee and Diablesse de Meuse.
Okay, well, let's have another look here. Jumping the water and then really not getting the... and then actually attacked on a long stride, and he really did need another stride there. You know, it's easy to say that now, watching it for the second time, but he had the plan to keep coming, but disagreement with his horse, and then decided to push, and that was too long and flat.
Yeah, there aren't too many that have jumped that first element of the gate. It's 4 at the moment that have jumped it, which does reflect what a difficult test that is from the water to the gates. Well, now the German challenge of Mario Stevens. They have got huge strength in depth. It's not often that a lot of their riders who do so well in Germany get the chance to come to the 5-star events that the Royal International is here at Hickstead. But Mario Stevens is one. Mario, again, one of those riders that shows great strength in depth in Germany. Riding Brooklyn, only a 10-year-old, this one, by the very good stallion Balou de Rouet.
Yeah, Brooklyn looks a really capable horse, but seems to be able to make silly mistakes and jump a lot of the difficult fences. So He decided to come inside to the water, obviously very confident. Oh, he's dead right.
But again, like our one clear round of Joe Vreeling, he did actually get the control back, even if he didn't get the stride he wanted.
But that's the thing about this horse. He seems to have problems with verticals. He really hesitated over the double of gates. And he'll jump some of the big, difficult oxes and then make a really bad mistake somewhere. Well, Robert Bevis sitting there on the 4 faults. He might just be thinking he's going to get a few quid today, because the clear rounds very thin on the ground, just the one at the moment.
Yes, Robert Bevis in second place, 4 and 80.54, and actually Keith Shaw, the fastest of the 8 faults, currently in third place, but still very early days. We're jumping the 14th of 42, and there is the score for Mario Stevens. 16 jumping and a time fault to add as well, so total 17 with that new time allowed of 84 seconds. 2 more seconds put on by the ground jury. Out in the collecting ring, there's another of the pass winners in the field, Ben Mayer, with the lovely chestnut Diva, and of course who won it in 2013 with Triple X, his Olympic team gold medalist. So this is a competition that is really going to build, and can this man play a part? He has won it on 3 times in the past. John Whittaker, he won it first in 1986 on the great Ryan Sun, 1990 on the world-class Milton, and his last win on another great favourite, Virtual Village Welham, and that was in 1997. But right at the best of his form, and he has been going so well with his top horse Argento, riding this less experienced Castlefield Cristobal, but he's going well on his young horses too, Andy.
John still works incredibly hard, rides all sorts of different horses. I watched him qualify for the Fox Hunter final here a couple of days ago. And John, you know, he's 60 years of age now, riding with as much enthusiasm as ever. Oh, no, he doesn't like the water. It's got to be in. And we're used to seeing John riding the great Argento, but this one much less experienced and proving way too much for him today. So I think John, whether he'll retire or not, he might just have another go at the double of gates. I think there's a few riders that are going to get hold of those gates and set fire to them, because they really are causing havoc. And we just don't see doubles of gates around the world these days, and it's unique to Hickstead.
It certainly is. We were mentioning about John's form. That form has been on Argento. He was second in the big Grand Prix at Syon Park in the Global Champions Tour last weekend. Concentrating on those at the moment, and to be honest, as he now has said, Argento not always at home in the big arenas, like for instance Aachen, like here. So that's why John has today picked Castlefield Cristobal. New horse to him, got a lot of ability, but is pretty cheeky too. Well, this is a combination that certainly isn't cheeky. It is class through and through. One of the best lady riders we've ever seen, I would suggest. Certainly, if not the best, one of the very best lady riders in the world at the present. She's won World, Olympic and Continental Championship medals. It is Abizi Madden. She holds the title of the King's Cup a year ago on this very horse with a truly classic performance. Cortez C, now a 13-year-old, but she loves this arena. Let's see whether she can plot the path to try and have a crack at retaining the title. Could she be clear round number 2?
Well, one of the main reasons we all love show jumping is it's so unpredictable and very difficult to call, but on paper, these two, this combination is right up there as possibly the best combination in the field. And you look at the way she jumped that combination, I mean, this really is a class horse. He's not the best water jumper, so you saw Beezy had to use a lot of pace to get actually over the water. She couldn't just trust him, but he's so careful. He was brilliant over the gates after she had so much pace there. Just looking for our second clear round. Just a slight rub coming into the last fence. Second clear.
It is. The time is very good indeed. 78.19. And so we've got to jump off for sure for the Longines King George V Gold Cup in 2015. And Beezy has set her task of trying to retain the cup.
Well, Beezy had to ride the water with a lot of pace because if there's one chink in his armour, Cortez, he doesn't really get much height over water, and he's very flat, but he was so careful at the double of gates. Just a slight touch going in there. And so far, the two horses that have gone clear are the class horses in the field that we've seen so far.
One has to remember that she won the bronze medal individually in the Worlds. That's when they ride top four horses, each ride each other's horses. You really do know who's a world-class horseman in that competition, and Beezy showed her class by winning the bronze. Well, now Ben Mayer, another man with huge class, part of that Olympic team gold in London, that on Triple X, but now looking to develop this lovely 10-year-old mare, Diva. Jumped a classic double clear for Britain in the Nations Cup. That was the really good news that came out of the Nations Cup for Di Lampard with the Europeans in mind. What can she do today? Owned by Tatiana Kosakova. Ben Mayer, Great Britain.
Well, Diva was bred by Liz Edgar, who I think I'm right in saying holds a record for Queen Elizabeth wins. Is that right?
You're absolutely right. Yep, 5 times.
And this is a horse that was bred by Canan out of a mare debutante that Liz used to ride herself. So bred in this country. He's gone on the inside line. Obviously wants to make sure he gets inside the time. Oh, that double of gates there. Ben did everything right. He got there to jump them.
Well, now he'll be looking to try and squeak ahead of Robert Bevis's time for a 4 faults. Stay on that 4 faults, but he looks
a bit quicker.
Yeah, 80.54 is the time to beat.
Yeah, and he's well aware of it. He's turning up here to the planks. Exactly the same as Rob Bevis he had going into the double of gates. Ben Mayer's done the same. If he can just jump the last fence, I think he might just be a fraction quicker. Close.
80.11. It's Ben Mayer who goes into third, and Robert Bevis into fourth with that 4 faults, 80.11. And I would think they've booked their ticket for Aachen. And remember, the important thing about that is Britain looking to finish in the top 3 of the nations that have not qualified for the Olympic Games at the moment. And that'll be a tough ask in the European Championship in Aachen now in 3 weeks' time.
Just having a look, Ben working hard, sitting up, using his upper body to get the balance, gets to the right place, a very light touch. That was desperately unlucky. And as you say, Mike, I think Ben and Diva have done enough this week to put themselves onto the team. That's obviously not our decision, but it's been a very good week for Ben Mayer and Diva.
Well, this is certainly one of the world-class riders in this field. Christian Ahlmann, another of the Ludger Beerbaum school. Christian Ahlmann, who's been right at the top 5 in the world. Very good horse, Codex, which of course has won one of the rounds of the Rolex Grand Slam, that in Aachen actually in 2014. And actually Codex we learn off the road temporarily again. That'll be a blow to Germany. But Christian Ahlmann now ranked 18 in the world at the moment with this for pleasure 11-year-old. It's a stallion, Pleaser van de Heike. But a man with real skill.
Christian Arman. He's a very tall, powerful German rider with great technique, and he needs to be strong to hold this horse together. It's a very long horse, slightly twists in the air. Just watch the back end over the gates here. Yeah, and it didn't work on that occasion. Twisted and caught the gates behind. It's a very powerful horse, but not the prettiest action over the top of the fence with the back legs. Well, no, it gets a bit repetitive, but those gates, I don't think we're going to stop mentioning them throughout the whole class.
No, I think they're certainly going to be an important factor in where the first prize goes, which will be something over €60,000 to the winner. It's a lot of money. But he, another who finishes on 4 faults in a very, very fast time, 77.11. And so that is the fastest 4 that we have at the moment. And of course 2 clear rounds, 1 for the Netherlands and 1 for America.
And just have another look at the way this horse jumps. Gets in the air and then twists to the side. And down the combination, it worked really well. It's just such a long-backed horse, slightly ungainly action, but it certainly didn't work at the gates. Just have another look at this. Coming into the gates, gets the stride, and then the back end twists and really collapses on the gate. That's where you really need a good technique behind.
America now, America with 1 in the hat. That, of course, the holder, BZ Madden, but now it's Todd Minicus. Todd Minicus with Babalu, one of those who jumped a double clear round and took America into a very good 3rd place in the Nations Cup. Todd Minicus, very experienced rider from the west coast of America. They used to be in a disadvantage jumping on the west coast circuit, but these days a lot of that has changed. The Americans now got a very good circuit of their own, but still, I'm delighted to say, look forward to coming to Europe in the summer. It's great to have them here.
Todd Mingus is great to watch because he hacks at the fences without a care in the world, and he just trusts his horse to be careful, and it worked over the gates brilliantly. He rides with so much confidence in this horse. It's wonderful to see a horse running and jumping with such freedom. He jumped really well in the Nations Cup on Friday. And he's flowing round here. Ooh, close into the gate, into the planks. He's jumped them. Well, we've got 1 from the USA already, Mike.
Well, bearing in mind that America have won this twice in the last 4 years, it could be another time this afternoon. Todd Minicus then making it 3, and now BZ Madden talking to Hannah.
BZ, to quote one of your countrymen who was watching your round next to me, that's why you're BZ Madden. Very great round.
Thank you. Yeah, my horse was fabulous. So happy for Todd as well. Hopefully Laura can get in there too for us.
We've seen so many horses really getting spooked by those gates, but he didn't look twice at them.
No, he's had some experience here, and he's quite an intelligent horse, and he kind of knows everything now.
Well, best of luck for the jump off.
Thank you.
Thank you, that was great.
Well, from one established world rider to another one who certainly has got that ambition. She's certainly got BZ's competitive spirit, and she's shown how talented she is. She's already, as a teenager, but just out of teenage anyway, is someone who's showing a form at the very top level, including the globals as well. It is Jessica Mendoza on her very good horse Spirit T, based over in Holland now. She really is intent in making it to the top. This, her first King's Cup.
Well, Jess has always been a cool customer, but Paul Mendoza, her father, will be watching, nearly having a heart attack because he gets very, very into it. And Jess herself, she just gets on with the job. Safely over the gates. We're looking for our first British clear round. Oh, she's left it. Well, she can't afford to hit another one like that. She's got to put that behind her. Still clear. Steady. She's okay for time.
Oh,
She's done it.
The youngest in the field, and she makes it clear round number 4 and 1 for Great Britain. What a performance. And look at the time too, 77.25. Certainly the fastest of the times.
Well, I don't know whether Paul, her father's heart stopped here, but mine nearly did, because that was lucky. You need a bit of luck somewhere on the course. She's ridden her luck, the first British clear round. And Jess was so disappointed to be left out of the team on Friday, but she kept her horse fresh. She didn't jump yesterday, and has put everything into this class, and she's jumped the clear round.
Well, might that put her in contention? That was certainly a class round with a lot of real cool work, that's for sure. So we've got 4 clears, 1 for Holland, 2 for America, 1 for Britain, now Ireland. And it is Trevor Breen with the wonderful horse Adventure de Canaan. Remember, Hickstead Derby winner. One eye, but he jumps as well with one eye as he ever did with 2. And this is a combination for Ireland, of course, based in this country. Ireland without a team here, but has got probably as good a form in this arena as any combination there is in this year's field for the King's Cup.
Adventure Canaan is such a versatile horse. He's won speed classes, he's won the Derby, and here he is in the biggest Grand Prix at Hickstead. Just another one, having the gates down. And now I think the 4 falters, the money's starting to slip away. We've got those few clear rounds. We're halfway through the class, and it's building up towards quite a serious jump off here, Mike.
It certainly is. 8 nations represented in this field, and 3 through to the jump off. Sadly, Karen Swan's wonderful Adventure de Canaan. He's got such a fan club, this horse, as indeed has the very talented Trevor Breen. Bows out, 2 down, 8 faults it is. And he really is a great favourite, Adventure de Canaan. He has won so much, not only in this ring, he's a real star horse for the Trevor Breen stable. So there is the 1 British clear round. Young Jessica Mendoza, one of those 4 clear rounds. 1 for the Netherlands, 2 for America, 1 for Britain. This now is really getting to the exciting stage. Make sure you stay with us.
Boomerang is coming to Hickstead, Saturday 12th and Sunday 13th of September. 2 days of live music in the Sussex countryside, featuring Simple Minds, the Proclaimers, Jessie J, and the Vamps. Get your tickets at boomeranghickstead.com.
EasyBed is celebrating 15 years as the UK's leading supplier of dust-free equine bedding. Made in the UK from 100% clean recycled wood, it's not only environmentally friendly, but it's also supportive, free draining and quicker to muck out. EasyBed helps look after the health and comfort of your horse, which is one of the reasons it's used by world-class equestrians. Find out more at easybed.co.
Well, John Bunn and the Bunn family will be thrilled with that picture. It is a very, very big crowd here at Hickstead for this Longines King George V Gold Cup, and my word, the competition is absolutely bubbling in the cauldron. We've got those 4 clear rounds, 1 for the Dutch, 2 for America, and the young 19-year-old from Great Britain. It's halfway through the first round, and there's some more big stars to come. It's for Switzerland now, Janica Sprunger. Janica Sprunger with Aris CMS. Janica, again, very highly respected on the mainland Europe circuit with some very good form, and she showed that here in her performance for Switzerland. Another of the double clear rounds in the Nations Cup on Friday. And what can she do? 4 clears so far.
Yeah, middle of the combination, just coming down once or twice. I think statistically the gate's come down probably 10 times more than any other fence. Other than that, faults spread out around the course, but oh, nearly jumped her off. Saw the gate and actually jumped too high over it. And I thought she was just about to come out the front door. And that's not a very nice feeling. A horse stutters, jumps too high, holds itself in the air. It's almost impossible to stay in the saddle. She did really well there. Came down to the gates, had quite a decent stride, jumped a little bit too high, and it fired Janica right up into the air and stopped the forward momentum. Impossible to jump out, and actually made a bit of a mess of the gate. A few repairs going on there.
Yep, the drills are out.
Yep.
You got to be a handyman when you're in the arena party at a major international show.
So the interesting thing about horses is that they're used to certain things, but when you give them something that they're not used to, it's incredible how they react. And as Beezy Madden was saying, her horse is used to those gates, didn't bat an eyelid. Janica, you know, she's carrying on.
Yes, actually, she got over the fence,
yeah.
So she won't be given any penalties for that, but she's got 30 in all. 24 jumping at 6 times, so it's a big score for Janica, and not around. She's going to want to remember too much.
No, and Aris is a very talented horse. He just had never seen these gates before, and it shocked him. He jumped too high, he stuttered, and not very pleasant.
Well, the gates are back up. Might be 1 or 2 that would rather hope they were broken for good, I think. But they're still very much in there. And the next man up is a man who's more than equal to the challenge. It is the great Marcus Henning. He is one of the true world-class stylish jockeys. He's never won this. Germany got a very good record. And in fact, Paul Schockermotter, who won it with the great Deister back in 1983, one of a number of famous stars from Germany. He's here watching the classes. Remember, he was show director here for a few years for Dougie Bunn, so he has a lot of memories of this arena. But it is the great Marcus Henning. He's been the world's #1 for many years. He's Olympic team gold medalist of Sydney in 2000. Now, what can he make of it on this senior horse, Pot Blue? Pot Blue now 18 years old. Interestingly, should pick this to jump in the Grand Prix of Great Britain.
There's a very good reason why he's picked this. A lot of his other horses are inexperienced. This one at 18, right at the end of his career, but phenomenally scopy horse, and he won't be frightened by any of the Hickstead fences at all. Taking that confident inside route. Now the old horse, will he stay careful? He won't be frightened by these gates, but no problem at all. Well, that really is an annoying fence to have down. Old Pot Bleu there, he didn't just put himself out to jump that oxer, having been so good over the gates.
Is that the first time that fence has gone down, Andy?
No, second time, because you commented on it the first time, Mike.
Well, there you are.
Sorry about that, but here we are, just watching watching Marcus Henning coming in to the last with the one down.
and it's just that one. 4 it is, 75.4. Marcus Henning, that'll be certainly one of the favourites for the 4 who've gone clear. Marcus Henning will be one that, to be frank, they'll probably be very happy that's not in there for the jump off for the title.
Yeah, he's a wonderful horse, Poplar. He's been a fantastic servant, great Aachen specialist. And Marcus Henning here, smooth, balance, absolutely foot perfect over the gates. And then down the hill on the 6 strides. The old boy just slightly casual, twisting his body a fraction. Bit unlucky. That was a shame.
Well, here's now a lady who's certainly making a name for herself in Belgium. Jumped in the Nations Cup for a clear and a 4. And Belgium developing a good squad of riders. This is Guren Petit with Sea Coastal Pebbles. I to remember a fantastic performance to win that Nations Cup. They're certainly looking good for a really good shot at the final of the Furaccia Nations Cup in Barcelona, but now can she put herself in contention for the famous Longines King George V?
Well, we've just watched Pot Bleu go round, who's 18. Well, this one's 9, nearly 10 years younger, and you won't see any horses going around here younger than 9. You won't see anything older than 18. So there's a complete spectrum of ages in the competition. But this horse is a brave horse. And just a bit too brave there. Seacoast Pebbles, he's one of those horses, got quite a lot of bridle on. He gets quite strong, and when you go round a big arena, they get stronger and fight for their head the further you go. Quite difficult to keep the control at the end of the course. You can see there, a really brave horse for a 9-year-old.
So some hard luck stories here. Here's perhaps another 4 it is for the young Belgian rider Guren Petit. But waiting down with Hannah is the British clear round. It is Jess Mendoza.
Jessica, some people wait a lifetime for clear in this class, and you do it on your first attempt.
Yeah, she jumped amazing.
You must be so thrilled. Spirit T was brilliant out there. How proud of her are you?
Yeah, amazingly. I mean, the fences are big, and I didn't know what she would do. And yeah, she was really brave and good.
You had a bit of a hairy moment at the 8th. What was going through your mind?
I hit it, and then I heard the crowd kind of go like, oh, God. But then I looked around and it was up, so.
A huge amount of relief. And the crowd went absolutely wild when you crossed the line. How important is that support?
Great. I mean, having a great British clear, and I hope there's going to be some others, so.
Fantastic. Good luck for his jump off.
Thank you.
Well, what a performance by that 19-year-old, and is there more to come? Well, from youth to experience, in a minute, this is Jess Mendoza.
Yeah, just having another look at Jess's round. And, congratulations to her, and here we are with our next rider, Mike.
Yeah, for France, Philippe Rosier. In fact, France with a pretty strong team here. This man, again, very capable. The Rosier has been a name at the top of French show jumping for a long time. Rautep de Toscan. And, of course, France, too, in their number here include Roger-Yves Bost, who won the King's Cup in 2006 with Ideal de la Lowe. So, France could be a real threat in this King's
that was
Cup.
A miss.
Yep.
We don't like to criticise the riders too much, but he really didn't have a stride there. And that's a young horse. Been a very exciting prospect for Philippe Rosier, but again, jumped mainly on surfaces, on continental shows, never been to Hickstead before. Things just fell apart there for a second. This one by Quidam de Rivel, a really beautiful type of stallion. When they've had a bad moment like that on the course, the experienced riders just got to calm them down, try and get them home safely. Good trip through the ditches.
Safely over the last, ending on the 16 faults for the 4 fences down for Philippe Rosier. And he has been part of the French squad for a number of years now, very experienced.
Well, he galloped at the water a little bit too early and then had to change his mind. And once you've done that to that 4-metre water, it's impossible to jump it. And you could see it rather unsettled him. Came into the gates completely flustered and disorganised. And he did well to get things back together and jump the last few fences.
Philippe Rosier, who was actually left out of the French team in the end, so he didn't jump in the Nations Cup. France, who in the end finished down the line in 4th place. Now for the Netherlands, Johnny Pauwels. Johnny Pauwels with Vignette, 13-year-old by Heartbreaker. Doesn't feature in their top teams. Remember, the Dutch, not only world champions with a brilliant performance in Caen, but also then won the Fiorentina Nations Cup final in Barcelona. And their chef de keep, Rob Aarons, a man who really does try and give as many chances as he can to give the riders some experience, so they've got strength in depth. And Johnny Pauwels was one of those riding for the squad here. The Dutch haven't had good form yet, but of course they may be looking to come to their best form at the right time of the season, and this man is certainly putting in a much better performance than he did in the Nations Cup.
Now with we haven't seen too many clears just recently, Mike. We had a few fairly close together. We've got a lot of riders on 4 faults, all vying for those lower placings. But since Jess went clear on Spirit T, we've seen a few riders coming in, just having a few problems. Johnny Pauwels on 12 faults, finding it hard going, coming down the last couple of fences.
And the last goes as well. So they too on 16. So, as you say, 6 horses since the 4th clear round we had in this first round for the Longines King George V Gold Cup. And we're now over halfway. There is the 4 that are clear, but there's some very big names to come, so make sure that you stay with us. Lots more to come.
Facilities are second to none, I think. I look for a horse with a
the crowd are a really good one this afternoon. A lot of them in that covered grandstand. It's very hot, very sunny. It's 24 degrees and I think climbing. And the temperature right down in the ring, that's climbing too here in this Longines King George V Gold Cup. 26 gone of the 42 due to come in this first round. And here's a man who's had huge success in this arena, Will Funnell, 3 Hickstead derbies, never got his name on the King's Cup. Wouldn't he like to? But interestingly enough, chosen a very young horse, a 9-year-old, to give him his ride in this King's Cup. Very good young horse. Big question here by Billy Congo. Billy Congo, of course, been his top horse for a number of seasons. The horse he won the team gold medal on in the Europeans in Henning 2 years ago. Will Funnel then on Billy Onslow, a 9-year-old by Billy Congo.
Very few international riders that breed their own horses, and Will Funnel pretty unique in that respect. And riding this one's father at the same show. A lovely start there for Will, immaculate down the combination. It's so difficult to jump the gates that the crowd are actually applauding for anyone that gets over them, and statistically there aren't many that have. It's been oh, and he's lucky there. That's the same fence that Jess Mendoza very nearly had. Is Will going to ride his luck as well? Oh, he just ran out of jump there. Done such a good job, Will. Rode brilliantly around the rest of the course and couldn't quite keep the balance on this young horse. But that's a very good round.
Oh, it certainly is. That man is one of the best jockeys there is going, and he really showed it there with a brilliant round on this young but exciting young horse, Billy Onslow. Of course, wife Pippa on the British squad for the European Eventing Championships up at the lovely Blair Castle in September. But this was some round.
I just had a bit of luck here. That's the biggest fence on the course, up the gradient, and then just at the planks he couldn't quite produce the jump. Another massive 160 vertical, and just a bit flat at the last fence. Really good through the double of ditches. But a 9-year-old really stepped up a level there, and I think we're pretty impressed with that round, Mike.
Without a doubt. I question whether it was a sensible decision to run him, but you'd have to say, seeing that, he was absolutely right. Gave that horse years of experience in just that one round. Brilliant. Well, now one of the young star riders, one has to say, of Belgium, Olivier Philipparts, twin sons of Ludo, who are really wonderful jockeys. And this Olivier, part of the Belgian winning team here on Friday with H&M Cabrio van der Hemping. Both twins already with a string of international successes to their names. Again, though, the Belgians haven't had any joy in this famous King's Cup. Even Father Ludo, this competition that eluded him. He's here watching, though.
Well, this really is a beautiful type. This Cassini grey stallion. A lot of pace to the water. Now he needs to steady up. Oh, it looks a bit messy, but he's cleared it. Wow. Yeah, just paid for it going down those 6 strides, and that fence has come down a couple of times, Mike.
So it has. Don't worry, I'll get my own back.
At this rate, there still will be some prize money for the four-faulters. Still just got the 4 clears, so plenty of money at stake here. Just having a buck at the wrong time.
But leaves the last, and it's just the 4-fault 82.05. Puts Olivier Philipparts for Belgium currently in 10th place.
Just have a look down the combination. Just watch the horse really flicking his back legs up, making sure he doesn't touch a pole. And here he is, came slightly on the angle, a bit disorganised to the gates. It didn't look pretty, but managed to clear them. And then ran downhill to that very square oxer. and just took this rail out here.
Well, now the very popular European champion for France, Roger-Yves Bost, riding Quad Coeur de la Loge, and interestingly enough, by the horse that he won this King's Cup in 2006, that Idea la Loge, France, before Roger's victory in 2006. You have to look back, literally back to 1947, when Jean-Claude Doriola, another famous French name, won it. But they haven't got a string of successes. Could this man give himself a second win here?
Confident line to the water again. It's a brave, rangy horse, but needs to set him up. He did everything he could there. Just watching Bosty, there's only one Roger-Yves Bost. The way he rides, incredibly unique, but so effective. So really clear rounds, just not quite coming. Must be sort of nearly 10 horses since we had a clear.
Yes, down the rest actually now. Gallops down to the last, as Bosty can.
Yeah, and he's fast.
77.34, and that's good enough to put him 7th. The third fastest, fourfolder, Marcus Henning the fastest, Christian Armour the second, and now Roger-Yves Bost the third. 4 clears, 1 for Britain, and those ice creams are going down well. As we're now into the final third of the first round. Really is a huge crowd enjoying the drama of this Longines King George V Gold Cup. That grandstand undercover, absolutely jam-packed. As the next is for the Dutch. The Dutch, of course, one of those 4 clear rounds. The first, Reeling, jumped a classic round on Zeroka Bleu. Now with Harry Smolders. Harry, again, one of the younger stars of the sport on this horse, Don VHPZ, a horse that first learnt his trade here with Louise Pavitt. Was a big winner of the Windsor Grand Prix and other big competitions with the Louise before it was sold. First into America, but now back in the hands of this Dutch rider, Harry Smolders.
Don VHP is one of those horses with phenomenal talent, but he is just sometimes a little bit cold and slightly lazy, and you just see him at the water there. Harry had to do a bit of work. And just a bit casual, that's so annoying. Jump the first of those gates, and normally it's the first gate that's harder to jump. Those clear rounds really are starting to become very scarce.
Well, it's a real test. Kelvin Bywater, I think he'll be quite happy with what he's got, because he knows this is such an important competition and he wants the best to win it, and he's certainly got the best of the rounds we've seen of the 4 clear rounds at the moment. It's 8 for Harry Smolders for the Netherlands and Don VHPZ. Good to see the horse jumping at this level. It was always thought to be that it was a class horse. Even though it's not managed to get through. Holland with one of those 4 to jump again at the moment. As now for Ireland. For Ireland, Shane Breen. Not seen that much of Shane this week, but he still one of the class jockeys in the world. Shane riding Golden Hawk. Very talented horse. Twice he's won the Queen's Cup, as indeed his brother has as well. He's won the Nations Cup here. He's a very definitely a Hickstead specialist, based here with his equestrian centre with his wife Chloe, He's been jumping at some big shows, had a good show at Mannheim recently. Now, can he get a clear round for Ireland? Ireland here, not here this year with a team, so just some individual riders, but certainly in the hands of this man, anything's possible.
Massive jump over the water. Shane really had to set his body against him to get the balance, and he didn't quite get it. Very difficult to regain the hocks underneath you when you jump so forward over the water. So yet another rider. We could have expected a clear from Shane. Still struggling for a few more clears. Jumps a lovely round here. Just if he tops the last, another. No, he doesn't. That goes as well. Say another one on 4 faults. We've got a whole host of them.
Actually, a whole host on 8 too. Actually, really are counting. Well, there's Daisy Byrne in the background. The Barn traditions as strong as ever. The family so behind this wonderful international centre. It really is one of the iconic venues of international show jumping around the world, and this one of the competitions that go hand in hand with the great venue. So we're into the final third of the famous Longines King George V Gold Cup. 4 clear rounds at the moment, 1 for the Netherlands, 2 for America, 1 for Britain. Switzerland now, another man who's been top of the world. He slipped down. He's had several horses leave his stable recently for other owners. But this man is amazing in the number of horses he can then pick up and find and ride at this level. He is a classic jockey. Piers Sweetser it is from Switzerland. And he's riding the very easy name, really, of Giovanni van Het Schief Castel. It's a 9-year-old. Another one by Darko. Darko, one of the great stallions of recent times. Sadly died in the last couple of years, but still with some stock that look to be international stars for the future.
Slightly smaller striding, shorter horse, and he put an extra stride into the combination. He's looking back at it, but it's down, I can assure you, Piers. So still really hard to get these clears. At one time with 4 halfway through, we thought we were going to get a few more, but those double gates still doing their job. Piers, you know, it's tough for him, as Mike was saying. He's lost a few top rides, but he's so adaptable. He's a horseman that can get the best out of a number of different horses. And this horse, you can see, you know, he's a little bit green, only 9 years old, and he had to work very hard to jump those big brush fences. And he'll keep bouncing back to the top of the sport, Piers.
Certainly a horse with a very decent jump, as you say, lacking in miles at the moment, lacking experience, and he another one with 8 faults. We've now got 10 with 8 faults. And also too, a whole host on 4, and just those 4 clear rounds.
Rider over this season with success in Milan, also part of the SPI Nations Cup.
So there are those 4 clear rounds. Freeling for the Dutch, BZ Madden the holder, Todd Minicus for the Americans, 2 for them of course, and then 19-year-old Jessica Mendoza for Great Britain. The lone British rider at the moment, still some more to come. We might get another 1 or 2. There's 3 British riders left. In fact, 4 British riders it is left to go. Now for Italy, Daniel Augusto Del Rios for Passion. 3 horses in the field by For Pleasure, the Olympic gold medalist for Germany back in 2000. And now a top stallion. So what can this Italian do? Italian have gone away from here empty-handed. A very good day here yesterday with 2 wins.
Yeah, very interesting, this stallion by For Pleasure, because he doesn't look like a typical For Pleasure, and he goes along with his head quite low, and he looks a bit long and slightly heavy in the hand, and that's not typical of a For Pleasure type. See, those gates are easy. When the horse wants to jump them like that, that was just absolutely perfect, and we've seen so many problems there. And he's had quite an annoying fence down early on, trying to quicken up for a time to get into some money, and he's got to turn up to these planks. And he's motoring. Top Blue was the fastest 4-faulter in 75.84. I don't think he's quite going to make that.
Times at the last rather, but it stays, and it's a 4 in 78.08, goes 8th. That would win him money if he stayed in that place. So a good round from the Italian.
Yeah, just watch down the combination here. It's a bit unlucky, really. It was a very good round. I just haven't seen too many horses clip that front rail coming out the combination. He's pretty disappointed, to say the least. He did jump a cracking round, jumped the gates probably as well as anybody.
Well, everybody's here, believe me. Not sure whether that one's going to have an ice cream though, but you never know. As we go now to the Lady French star, Penelope Le Provost. She's been higher than 21st in the world, but that's where she is in the Longines World Rankings at the moment. On this very good horse, again actually by For Pleasure, Flora de Mariposa, which would probably be her top horse in the string. She's got some very good horses.
Well, this one's much more of a pleasure type. Chestnut running a little bit with the head inverted when she jumps. Fantastic, careful trier. Not the biggest horse, but you watch Penelope there, she really scuttled around that corner, because she can get time faults with this mare because she doesn't really cover the ground with that short stride. Well, that's where that mare is such a trier, super careful over the double of gates, and brilliantly ridden, using a bit of pace. And Penelope is one of those really flary riders, gives a horse so much confidence.
She's been very much part of the French success in recent years. The world title of 2010, and of course a tremendous silver medal in the Worlds last year. She's been in form. She'll be very much part of Philippe Gourdin, the team manager's plans for the Europeans in Aachen, and that's a lovely round, and France are in the hunt for the King's Cup 2015. That really is a class round, and this lady, when at her best, is one of the best in the world.
Well, you're quite right there, and the girls are really on form today, Mike. That's the third lady we've got through, and this was so well ridden. Very much like Spirit T with Jess Mendoza, not the biggest horse, but a real fighter and a real trier, and ridden with flair, and very exciting one to have in the jump-off.
Certainly is. She really tried hard for France in the Nations Cup, had a clear and won in the 2 rounds then, and now she's in the jump-off, 1 of 5 in for that pot of gold, 200,000 euros in all for this, of which a third of that will go to the winner. As in comes Guy Williams. There's some of the things that Guy has done in a very glittering career, but he's never featured in this. riding a horse owned by Diane Penny Cornish, horse that Philip Miller has ridden, Basic. It's quite a young horse, not a big jumping horse, not always the easiest to ride, but this man can really ride anything. Now, could he join them? Answer no. Based in Deauville, just on the other side of the channel at the moment, but loves coming back to this place. He's won so many big competitions here.
Well, yeah, it's pretty interesting how so many riders are choosing to leave Britain and move to the continent. We've got Jess Mendoza and Joe Clee and now Guy Williams basing themselves in Europe, and not just happening there for Guy, but he's he did really well in the Nations Cup earlier this week, and he's retired there.
Yes, he could well have booked his ticket for the squad for the Europeans with what he did in that Nations Cup. We'll have to wait and see. It'll be interesting. But he retires Basic, and we're down now to 7 left to jump in the first round. And here is the situation at the moment. There are those 5 clear rounds, 1 for the Netherlands, Joe Freeling, 2 for America, BC Madden, Todd Medicus, 1 for Britain, Jess Mendoza, and of course the talents of Penelope Le Provost for France. Absolutely fascinating, and still with 7 to go in the first round. All to play for. Welcome back as we go into the final stage of the first round, and they're warming down before the jump off. For a few moments is Penelope Le Provost, the French challenger for this year's title. And we go back into this famous international arena, and here's the success story for Italy. It is Pier Giorgio Bucci with Catwalk Z. He went the best of the Italians in the Nations Cup, a clear and 4. And then won the big ranking class here on Saturday for Italy on this 11-year-old Catwalk Z, not to be muddled with Robert Whittaker rather's Catwalk. That being saved for Dublin. Of course, Dublin, the international show for Ireland. Big Furaccia Nations Cup round there for Britain, that's for sure. But this looks a really good combination for Italy. How could they put Italy in to the jump-off?
Well, these two seem to really like this arena. They're in great form already this week. It's fascinating when horses come into this arena for the first time. They seem to like it or they don't like it. This horse rises to the occasion. It's bringing out the best in him. Oh, that was unlucky. Haven't seen that too often. Normally they jump in, they're okay jumping out. Just the one.
Well, there's another hard luck story, I would suggest. But means he misses out in the jump off, but he's certainly put his name in the book of the chef to keep. Hans Horn. I would think you might see this man representing Italy in those Europeans in Aachen.
Well, here he is at the planks just before the double, nice and clean there, and then seemed to be set up really well for this double. Popped in, just watch him come out. Just popped in really well. Don't see any reason for that. It is slightly short in there.
Well, now it's Spencer Rowe. Spencer Rowe, wonder why, owned by the Rowe family. Spencer, who was a very good young rider, could have actually ridden in the Young Riders Championship for Britain last year, but then of course went to the Worlds. What experience that was. Really talented young man, done some great rounds in Dublin last year, and again would be very much in the mind's eye of Di Lampard as a possible contender for Britain's team. Goes to Dublin again next week. He's not going to feature, is he, here today? But an important round. He jumped a good round in the rankings yesterday, good clear round, and didn't jump off. Very much trying to save for this competition, but that hasn't worked. But still, if he can pick up here and jump a good round, he could still very much stay in the contention of a squad place. But each fence that's down perhaps makes that a little more difficult.
Yeah, this is a pressure round for him personally, because he is still possibly in contention for the Europeans, but two fences down. I mean, Wonder Why is a very, very powerful, scopy horse, but at times he gets a bit hot-headed and can jump a bit forward, and that's been his undoing so far on this round.
Well, it's four down, disappointment for Spencer. But a man we'll hear more of, I'm sure. He's still only young, and definitely has got skills that Britain could well be in need of in years to come. So there's some of the contenders for this title. Remember, there is the holder of the famous trophy, Beezy Madden, just beginning to loosen up for her round against the clock. 5 of them at the moment, 2 America, 1 for the Dutch, 1 for Britain, and 1 for France. Now Laura Kraut, one again of the great lady riders from United States of America. She very much won team gold for the Americans in the Beijing Hong Kong Olympics of 2008. Went through to the jump off to win gold for America. And Laura, again, still very much at the top of the lady riders in the world. Ranked 38th in the world overall. Based in this country with, of course, Nick and her yard up in Warwickshire. Riding this very good 10-year-old Andretti S. A horse that really was showing a very good effect at this year's Royal Windsor Grand Prix. Laura at the moment with a lovely team of horses, together with a great horse Cedric, which was of course the horse that she won that Olympic gold medal on. Real star, this lady.
Phenomenally talented horse, but he just dwelt in the air. It looked as though he was well out over the combination and just hesitated for a second. Well, he doesn't like the water, and that's a horrible moment there for Laura. It's so unsettling. And another horse with incredible talent, but just not relaxed in the arena. But they've got to get in here, have a look round, jump these fences, get used to it, and then come back another day when they're a bit more experienced.
This horse, though, surely Andy got a great jump.
Yeah, it's a very, very talented horse. You can just see the greenness there, Laura having to work quite hard.
But remember, Andretti's, I think you'll hear more of it in the hands of this very skillful jockey. I think we'll see more of this now 10-year-old at the moment by Corlin, Andretti's.
His combination really getting in the air over the first couple of elements and then just hanging in the air, not making that back rail, almost jumping a bit too high, and here backed off the water and then picked up a stride too early and jumped straight in the middle of it. Laura doing her best to keep everything settled.
Well, they're making his way to the international arena. William Whittaker. Again, he's another one with that Whittaker magic, no doubt about that. And he'll be riding Fandango. He's certainly got a very, very good brain. As here we have another of the young superstars of the sport in Europe at the moment. This is 19-year-old Jos Verlooy from Belgium. Represented his country in the Europeans when only 17 years old. Riding Sunshine. 9-year-old by Diamant de Semy. Big winner in Europe. And again, for his age, certainly more than holding his own.
Jos himself is a tall lad. This Diamant de Semy, typical type. Very big horse, massively scopy. Big horses harder to shorten up. We've seen some of the smaller types that bounce underneath you a bit more, jumping the double gates, but the big long horse is much harder to reorganise after the water. I think now 4 faults, mostly the prize money is gone, Mike, isn't it? I think it's...
There's at the moment 5 of them in the top 10, so...
they're still in with something,
they
yeah?
certainly are.
OK.
Flies the last. It's another 4, 77.74, and so he comes just up into the top 10 without 4 faults. So with the 200,000 euros, the overall prize fund, there's still good prize money down the line. 3 left to go. William Whittaker now. William has already got some big wins under his belt in a fairly short career, but very talented career. Now with his own yard, riding this 12-year-old Fandango. He, as you can see, represented Britain in 2 of the big Cuirassier Nations Cups. Certainly with the right horsepower, this is a young man that's going to keep the Whittaker name going for a long while yet. William Whittaker, the first of 2 Whittakers left to go in the first round. Uncle Michael will go last of the 42 starters.
It's always interesting looking at the tack that riders have. This one, no martingale, doesn't throw his head up, but he can be a bit strong. And William rides him with a double bridle just to try and keep the balance, which he's going to need to do coming downhill to the gates. You see the power and scope, no problem with the combination at all. Now, William doesn't want to go too quickly over the water. Yeah, judged that superbly. That was class. Fandango can just get a touch strong at the end of the course.
Just the last. Time's fine. Oh, what a round. That's why this man is really born with all the Whittaker talent. You saw it there to perfection. And that gives us clear round number 6 and 2 for Great Britain. It's the youth that are carrying the flag today.
Yeah, that was classic horsemanship. When they gave out the touch and feel and talent, this young man was given it in spades, because what he did here, he knows he can't gallop too fast. He jumped right over to the right, gave himself loads of room to put the extra stride in, get the balance, and he just sits so immaculately on his horse down the hill, keeping his horse between hand and leg. And that was a real exhibition of top-class touch and feel riding. Very talented young man, isn't he?
He certainly is, and he spent season and a bit more actually with his uncle Michael, and it was all very good stuff, and we saw it there. He'll be back now. 2 more to go, and the first of those for Switzerland, Romain Duget with Corrido de Trejo. It's a Canaan 11-year-old. Canaan, another of the stallions that are certainly making their mark. Remember the Olympic gold medalist Nino Dubisset. For Steve Gerda, that's another Canaan horse, one of many.
Big jumping horse, throwing itself in the air, but just a bit untidy. He's lost a stirrup as well. He's in all sorts of trouble. Got his stirrup back. That combination, you know, it's a big oxer coming out of there, and we've just seen a couple of horses not make the back rail. We're just talking about breeding in the modern sport, Mike. We've got several stallions, Light for Pleasure, Cornet Oblensky, Canaan, and 1 or 2 others that seem to be dominating the sport at the moment.
Absolutely. And sadly, most of them too are on mainland Europe. They really have done their homework, so many of these European countries, and they've really put it to good effect. So coming down to the last with that one mistake, another big jumping horse for Switzerland, Romain Duget. 4 it is, goes 13th on that 79.09. Might only be 6 clear rounds, but there's a whole host of horses, way over 10 now, on 4 faults.
Yeah, we've come close to having double the number of clears. I mean, this was a very annoying mistake just early on. Jumped a bit too high, dwelt in the air coming out of the combination. Let's have another look at it here. He moved a bit sideways and went a bit green. And here he is, jumps to the left, didn't stay straight and landed on the back rail.
1 more to go, and it's one of those 5 previous winners in the field. Yep, it's Michael Whittaker. Michael, who won it back in '82 when a very young man. '82 was with Disney Way. He won it then 3 other times. Next, Didi was another win for him. '92 then, Midnight Madness, and again did Midnight Madness in '84. Riding Quelbora, Mertz for Great Britain, Michael Whittaker, the last to go in the first round.
Well, there we are. Show jumping can be so cruel. Michael just coming in quietly, good stride to the first fence. And down it comes. I mean, that's the only horse. Another one going as well. It's the only horse that's had that first fence down. Well, we've got 1 Whittaker through, but certainly Uncle Michael is not going to be there.
Yeah, Whittaker on that famous gold trophy on 7 occasions so far, and it's possible for an 8th moving down a generation. That would be a good start, wouldn't it, as Michael retires. Well, Bordermers And we've got 6 to do battle in the final round against the clock. And it looks to be a classic yet again in 2015. What is in the locker now for this? It'll be Joe Vreeling that gets everything underway. Then it's the current champion, BZ Madden, Todd Minkers from the United States of America, and then 19-year-old Jessica Mendoza, Penelope Le Provost, one of the star ladies of the world from France, and then William Whittaker making sure it's youth to the fore for Britain in the Longines King George V Gold Cup, the last to go for Britain with Fandango. What a exciting finish we've got in prospect.
The facilities are second to none, I think, with the new and the old. I look for a horse with a good head, a good eye, a good walk, trot, canter, which equals a horse with a very good balance. The owners are so important. I go out and I source a really nice young horse, produce it. The investors have been delighted with their return. So if you want to be a part of the Breen team and be involved with top flight show jumping, it'd be great to hear from you.
Boomerang is coming to Hickstead, Saturday 12th and Sunday 13th of September. 2 days of live music in the Sussex countryside, featuring Simple Minds, the Proclaimers, Jessie J and the Vamps. Get your tickets at boomeranghickstead.com.
EasyBed is celebrating 15 years as the UK's leading supplier of dust-free equine bedding. Made in the UK from 100% clean recycled wood, it's not only environmentally friendly, but it's also supportive, free draining and quicker to muck out. EasyBed helps look after the health and comfort of your horse, which is one of the reasons it's used by world-class equestrians. Find out more at easybed.co.uk.
Welcome back to Hickstead. There are 6 through to the jump off in the Longines King George V Gold Cup, and there was our first clear. Yeah, Vreeling on the gorgeous Scopy Grey there. First clear, 6th rider to go. We had to wait a little while before BZ Madden also joined him through to the jump off. First woman ever to win this when she lifted the trophy 12 months ago. She's back on Cortez C and with an outstanding chance, as is her fellow countryman Todd Minkers. He's through on Babaloo Another of the clears and a beautiful round from him in the first. As Andy said, a lovely free-going round from Todd. And then, could it be the biggest day of her career? Jessica Mendoza, just 19 years of age. She's through at the first attempt on Spirit Tea on the horse owned by her mother, Sarah. Another lady rider through as well. Could be a day for the girls. Penelope Le Provost for France. She's also through on Florida Mariposa. And one more Brit. It's William Whitaker on Fandango. Bookmakers had him chalked up as one of the favourites, and he's got a chance of winning the title. So, confirmation then, 6 through from our 42 starters, and they jump in the same order. So first back in the arena will be Vreeling, followed by Beezy Madden and Todd Minkus. Jessica Mendoza with 2 behind her, and they are Penelope Le Provost and William Whitaker. William Whitaker will be in pole position. He'll know exactly what he has to do when he comes into the arena on Fandango. So horses won't have to do a great deal in the collecting ring, but they will have to limber up. There is Jessica Mendoza on Spirit Tea. She's got the luxury of a few riders going before her. Let's go back to Andy and Mike.
Well, what a wonderful competition this could be for this lady. It might well prove her to be lucky not to have jumped in the Nations Cup. Andy, let's have a look at the course.
Well, here we go uphill, starting over that massive vertical. And straight line to the next big oxer, the one with the brush in it. Here we get an interesting run round to the gate, just the one gate this time. A lot of galloping room here. This is the vertical that was number 3. First part of the combination is still there. 2 strides to the vertical, but no third element. Left-handed to what was the first fence, across the middle of the arena. And now we've got some real fun and games. Galloping up here, right in front of the boxes there. 2 extra fences, down to the last fence. This is a new fence as well, right in front of the collecting ring.
And a long gallop down to that last big oxer. And it is £45,000 roughly to the winner, 66,000 euros. And the overall fund in pounds, we've been giving euros 200,000, about £141,000. The pound to the euro, of course, dropped back, but it's still a very decent pot of money for this classic King George V Gold Cup. Netherlands, USA, USA, Britain, France, Britain. That's the order they come. And the man who broke the duck for the clear rounds for the Dutch to go first, Vreeling, with the very good 11-year-old stallion, Zirocco Blue. If the first round is anything to go by, this man would stand a very good chance. Can he do it again? Can he put his name up in lights in the 2015 King George V?
Well, he's gone 5 strides up the first line. Gambling the gate. Well, he's left it. I don't know how he did. Very tight again here. Oh, and he's really changed his mind coming down that line. Now that broke his rhythm. Okay, so here's what was the first fence. He's there in around 30 seconds. And he actually had a look across to see whether he'd left that up. So he started off very quickly and then had a big break in his rhythm. I think now he's just trying to get the clear round to put the pressure. He's settled down, just jumping the last fence.
Yes, he certainly took his foot off the accelerator when he realised he was wrong to that combination. But there it is, clear, 49.54. The fact that it's clear will really put the pressure on. But has he done enough?
But all importantly, the pressure's off. He goes clear.
Well, this was a very quick start. Look at the gate, really gambled it, got ever so close, and he was lucky there. And there was a massive stutter down this line here. Didn't really, yeah, there, added a stride, didn't see the one he wanted. And then I think regrouped and thought, OK, I'm going to try and get a clear round. And he's done that. Let's see what the others do.
Now, the great Beezy Madden, 51 years old, Last year, she was the first woman ever to win the King's Cup. Remember, it was a men's-only championship for many, many years, but then it opened up, and Beezy, the first lady ever to win it. Now there are 4 in the 6 trying to win it this year. Beezy back on this great horse, Cortez C. Clear 49.54 is the time to beat.
Cortez loves eating up the ground. Big stride. Oh, this is a very quick, smooth round. Cutting every corner here. Wow, that was fantastic. Just 2 fences to go. This is going to go well into the lead if she just keeps this up. Oh, what an incredible turn.
This is big, but she's galloping down to it and gets it. Wow! 43.06, 6 seconds off to Joe Vreeling's time, and that has really put the gauntlet down to make it 2 in a row for Beezy Madden. Wow!
Fearless, confident riding. She believes in this horse, took every chance in the book. If anyone beats this round, they thoroughly deserve to win. Jumping on the angle, landing and moving away from the fences quickly, taking chances. There she is at the second last, swinging into it. She really hasn't left too much there, Mike.
She certainly has not. And quickly looking back down the records, the last time back-to-back wins, looks like Piero Denzeo and the Rock back in the 60s, 61, 62. She's got a chance of doing just that. Now the second of the Americans, and he won't give up in this, that's for sure. Todd Minicus with Babalu 41. It's only a 10-year-old, but this man loves moving on against the clock.
Well, there's one thing for it now. They've just got to take every chance they can, jump the fences on the angle, dare their horses to be careful.
Beezy was out of here in 22.1, and he's just 2 or 3 tenths down.
And he's just a little bit slower there. He's going to have to do something really special now. But he's certainly giving it a go. Swinging in here. And it's down. He's not going to be his day. Let's have a look at the time, see if he actually was quicker. Just fractionally down as well, Mark.
44.32, 1.3 seconds down. So Beezy has really laid it on the line, no doubt about that. 3 gone, 3 to go. 2 of those 3 for Britain, and my word, it's definitely the youth that have got to burn this Hickstead turf up if they're going to win their first King George V. But this lady would seem to have nerves of steel, just 19 years old. Even in pony days, she was so confident. Jumped a great first round, but this is another league. Jessie Mendoza with Spirit T, a horse that is highly regarded on the world circuit. But this now is a very big question for this young lady. Great Britain's Jessie Mendoza trying to beat Beezy Madden 43.06.
This is the biggest test of her life. Very tight. Right, now she's got to gamble.
Yeah, she's
not quite there. She hasn't got the stride that Cortez C's got. But now she's got to gallop, take every chance she can. Well, she's certainly done that. Has she overcooked it? She's still clear. Keep going. It's doable. It is doable. Oh, just that last fence. She did the time.
She was quicker. She was quicker. And down goes the last. 42.76. What a great effort. The crowd really giving this young lady a huge reception, and doesn't she deserve it?
She's always been absolutely fearless against the clock, and she gave it everything. It didn't quite happen.
Very happy to take on the very
just watch the turn into the last fence at the end. I mean, that was just something else. I mean, she really tried to stand off the last, couldn't quite produce the jump, but 10 out of 10 for effort and bravery.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. Goes third. The worst she could be is what, fourth, fifth? And we've got 2 left to go. There is the lady who's done a round which they're all trying to catch. Has she done it? We know that time is beatable. Her time 43.06, but clear. Jessie Mendoza 42.76, and this lady is very, very quick. Penelope Le Provost, France, Flora de Mariposa.
A very different horse. Doesn't have the stride, but so agile and so nimble. She is absolutely motoring. This little horse tries so hard. How tight is that? That is incredible. She's in touch.
She 22.1. She is in touch. That was the time that Beezy was there. There's nothing in it. Now she's got to fly. Wouldn't look to be flying quite as quickly, but she is
gonna take a stride
touch.
out. She can do it. It's so close.
No, not to me. 43.42. Goes second. But what a challenge. America first. And then France second. Is it going to be a lady 1-2?
Well, such fine margins here. Just couldn't quite cover the ground with the little short striding mare with the heart of a lion. But what a fabulous round. These girls are really flying around here.
They are showing that they are equal to the challenge for sure. And 1 left to go. That one is Will Whittaker with Fandango. Still down in that warm-up area, determined to make sure everything is 100% right before he has the biggest challenge of his young show jumping career. Here he comes. Are we going to get another Whittaker name on this famous trophy? The one thing's for certain, he won't be flustered. He is such a cool, laid-back man. I think that was his Uncle Michael coming in with him, wasn't it, in the shadows?
I think Uncle Michael said, just go flat out, William. There wouldn't be too much else to say, really.
Well, he won't get many better opportunities than this to really make it into the top echelon of world show jumping if he could win this. Salutes the judges, William Whittaker, Fandango. The time to beat is that of BZ Madden, the current holder, Cortez C, clear 43.06, needs to be out of the combination in 22.1 or better. Away we go.
Fandango is deceptively big striding. He is covering the ground.
.1 coming out of here. Just a fraction down.
Needs to gamble. Open the stride up.
Is he doing enough? 10 seconds less to get home. Now he's got to take a stride out.
Very close.
He's not going to do it, I don't think.
And that's gone as well.
fifth place, but a great competition for two young British riders, and BZ Madden has done it again. Robert Ridland there on the left. There is the American celebrating. BZ wins back-to-back King George V Gold Cups. It's something that hasn't been done for well over 50 years, and BZ Madden has shown why she is regarded as one of the best lady riders ever. Tremendous victory for the American BZ Madden, Cortez C. Well, what a performance. I suspect that's a message to husband John, who is so much part of the BZ Madden team. And let's look at it again.
Well, Will really had to change his mind coming down to the last. You saw Fandango just dodging around a little bit. And the same as Jess Mendoza, couldn't quite produce the jump over the last downhill at that kind of speed. Is so hard to do. And Will there, the pressure finally getting to him.
Yes, even William
He did his
Whittaker.
best.
He did. And when you look at the fact that Jess Mendoza was actually the fastest around the course in that round, Robert Ridland thrilled with that. And there is husband John. What a performance from this lady. Well, worthy of this great classic. The Longines King George V Gold Cup goes back to BZ Madden, to the Americas. 2 years in a row. France's star, Penelope Prevost, great battle. Sherverling third, but the two young British riders, my word, they played their part in the 2015 Longines King George. Let's go down to Hannah.
BZ, you've successfully defended the King George V World Gold Cup. How do you feel?
I feel awesome. I really didn't think it was going to be that I could duplicate last year, but we came pretty darn close, and today was amazing.
You really took your chances out there, but they paid off.
Yeah, he was fantastic for me. He really gave me a good chance at the second to last fence. I took a real shot at that, and he was awesome, and yeah, it was fun.
And it was a really strong field today, competition right up to the last rider.
Very strong. There were a lot of fast ones in the jump off, and yeah, seemed to hold up though. We were lucky.
Well, congratulations. You're the first person to defend the title since 1962. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know it.
Record breaking all the way. Thanks very much, BZ. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well, it's some achievement, isn't it, to win back-to-back King Georges. It hasn't happened very often. What a horse that Cortez C is as well. She really can trust this horse. She fires him along, and he just gets this beautiful fluid rhythm, and he just keeps picking up for her. An absolute partnership made in heaven, isn't it? She's texting people there as well. Yep, I did it again. That's what she's won, and that is an historic trophy. Worth an absolute fortune. It's solid gold, that trophy. All sorts has happened to it over the years. It's been used as a doorstop. It's been buried during the war to make sure it was preserved, and there it is again now. And Cortez, he's as cool as ice, isn't he? What a gorgeous horse, and what a competition as well. Some fantastic efforts from those further down the line, and I think there's an awful lot to look forward to for the British riders. William Whittaker, he looked pretty I suppose upset when he came out of the arena. He gave it his all. The horse just a little bit spooky down to that last line, and Jess, what a round from her as well. Just didn't quite come off today, but Andy Austin, who joins us again, I don't think it'll be too long before it does.
Well, that was a fabulous competition, wasn't it? And yeah, you know, Jess Mendoza, she had the fastest time. She gave it absolutely everything. Couldn't quite get the jump at the last fence, but what an effort. But congratulations to BZ Madden.
She's
extraordinary
some rider,
feat.
isn't she? Yeah.
Absolutely world class.
Not content with winning it once, but winning it twice in a row, and the first lady to do it, of course, last year, and just proving it was no fluke.
She's just continuing to make history, and the same horse-rider combination. But Cortez C, he loves this arena. He's absolutely made for it, because he can travel forward at such incredible speed and not lose the shape of his jump.
It's astonishing. You see her when she rides him, turns him in quite tight, the gate, she just trusts him to pick up, and he does.
He's picking up from a mile away, he's staying careful, he's travelling forward, he's doing everything that horses shouldn't actually be able to do, really.
I know, he's a freak, isn't he? But what a nice horse to have, and I'm sure she'll be back again next year, given a little bit of luck and a bit of judgment, and it must be some feeling to win a competition like this. But looking a little further down the line, I thought Penelope Prevost was brilliant as well, on a totally different horse.
Totally different horse. I mean, she doesn't have the same stride. You know, that little horse is an out-and-out trier, but what a pleasure to watch that one go round.
It's like a little rubber ball.
Yeah, and what you want from a horse is a horse that gives you everything it's got, and that one certainly did. And she came so close as well.
And of course, Jörg Vreeling, tough task for him. He was first to go, and it
didn't quite work out for him. He set off meaning to win, and then he lost his rhythm down that one line. Had to take a pull, so he settled for the clear round. But he's got a bit of place money. I don't feel too sorry for him.
Decent place money, hasn't he? And yep, he'll be happy with that. The presentation not too far away. The band are about to strike up. You'll hear them in a moment as Beezy also makes her way back up in that famous sash. Fantastic to win this again, and the horse is so laid back. It was interesting to see, Andy, actually, because I'm standing right by the funnel here, that they just have to lead him into the arena. That seems to be his only vice.
Yeah, well, we'll take that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, yeah, it's certainly something you could put up with, and be interesting to see. He's a pro, isn't he? When he comes back in, I don't suppose the band will phase him at all. It's not for all of these. Not for all of these horses, but Beezy's so cool. I saw her wandering around during the competition after she jumped clear in the first round.
She's quite a laid-back character. When you talk to her, she's very calm. That transmits to the horse. She's very confident in what she does. There's no fluster attached to it. And I think that really does transmit into the way she rides.
Yep, certainly does. It's a pleasure to watch, isn't it? And there you can see the band just starting the ceremony, and the horses will be in before too long as well. And let's have a little reminder while they get themselves sorted out as to how Beezy did it, because, Andy, this is poetry, and anybody watching at home that thinks, I wouldn't mind being a show jumper, just watch Beezy.
Watch this, because the key to speed riding is obviously not taking pulls, seeing your stride early and not breaking the rhythm, and having a horse with the ability to jump across fences. I mean, look at the angle here. You shouldn't really be able to jump that gate like that. And he makes it look effortless.
And he runs in that beautiful American style, doesn't he?
Yeah, and then he gets close to the next vertical, no problem at all. And then swinging round to this one, absolutely no break in the rhythm.
Yeah.
And the turn into the second last was fabulous, because he actually stood quite a long way off it. But he made that look easy. A lot of horses wouldn't take off from there, or if they did, they go straight through the fence.
And he is phenomenal, isn't he? He really is. And his front end is sharp. He's a big horse, but the front end comes up really
if
sharp.
You get a big horse that's that careful and can gallop and stay in balance, it does make the job easier.
Yeah, and he seems a very laid-back character. He's got a fantastic eye. I know too much can be made of the way they look facially, but he just looks really, really relaxed. Now, I can tell you, the last back-to-back winner was back in 1961-62, Andy. That was Piero D'Enzo. I think he could be the one that maybe...
Do you remember that, Alex?
I think you do, Andy.
Maybe just.
And I think Beezy's the fifth rider. I've just plucked that out there. Fifth rider to win back-to-back. Amazing, isn't it? Fantastic for Beezy. Goes down in history, yet another accolade for what's probably a very full trophy cabinet.
Yeah, Beezy's been at the top of the game for a long time, and she's hugely respected. She did brilliantly in the World Championships. She can ride a number of different horses. But one of the key things that we like to see is her horses always look very happy and do it in such a nice way without a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and he's so laid back, this Cortez C. Didn't need leading in the arena now, did he? There he was, very laid back, just walks in like an old sheep. He looks like anyone could ride him there, doesn't he?
And just looking at the lineup there, what a fabulous sport show jumping is. Because we've got experienced riders, we've got young riders on the way up. We've got the ladies and we've got the men all competing against each other on a variety of different types of horses. And there's something different going on for all of them. And they've really thrilled us today.
Yep, certainly have thrilled us today. And there is our winner, Beezy Madden. Let's go and join the presentation with Mike Tucker.
Well, how good it is that a lady who's done so much for the world of show jumping at literally Olympics, World and Continental Championships still sees this competition as so special. I think her reaction, and isn't that a well-deserved spot of grass for Cortez C. The Buns, I don't think, will worry one moment about losing a bit of Hickstead grass to this wonderful horse and rider, who really did, I think, show the emotion of just what this competition means. And that's so good to see. To win this today, Calvin Bywater really made it a classic test of what it's all about. and this combination were more than equal to it. They were absolutely classic. So this is a competition which will go down in history as one of the best. And back-to-back, as we said, back-to-back following the wonderful performance of that fabulous grey horse, the Rock, the Irish-bred horse, ridden by Piero Denzeo back in the 60s. And that's some record. So Beezy knows exactly what it's all about. And of course, this is a combination that will be very much part of the American challenge in the Olympics. Now up goes the American flag for the national anthem of the winner, Beezy Madden, United States of America. Well, Beezy has known some great moments in her illustrious career, but this obviously still means so much to her. And the horse now looking absolutely chilled out. As coming forward to present the fabulous trophy, Katrina Jones, brand director of Longines UK and Ireland. And Beezy knows exactly what this is all about. 1 year ago, exactly the same trophy and Longines watch were heading Beezy's way. Well, this horse must now probably very much be prepared for 1 year's time. The Rio Olympics literally 1 year ahead. This coming weekend is when they get underway. And that will certainly be a big target for Beezy, who's got a string of horses. Cortez C wouldn't be the only horse that would be in contention for her to ride in Rio. Robert Ridlin himself, an Olympic rider, huge talent, is really getting this American squad, headed by this lady, wound up for a big challenge in those Olympics. Well, this has lived up to all the billing, and you could almost say even more so with the performances of the two talented young British riders. My word, they played their part. Jessica Mendoza, being her first King's Cup, was outstanding 19-year-old performance. Just a little unlucky at the last in the end when she just didn't get the one she wanted. But what a performance. And that makes an intriguing question, surely, for Di Lampard now. Missed out in on the team, but she certainly now proved that she's got the temperament to do the job. Well, it was a battle. It wasn't a one-sided win by any means. The French star, Penelope Le Provost, has always been regarded as one of the best riders in the world, and of course coupled with that best lady rider to go with it. Penelope Le Provost, who finished second in a great attempt with Florida Mariposa. So a back-to-back bit of history in the King George V Gold Cup. What an afternoon of show jumping we've enjoyed.
We certainly have. Thank you very much, Mike. And Beezy tops the table once again. Confirmation of that result then. She wins in a time of 43.06, ahead of Penelope Le Provost in 43.42. Jörg Vreeling was third, the only double clear to join the other two. Jessica Mendoza the fastest though, but unfortunately the last came down, and great rounds as well from William Whitaker and Todd Minkus. So, Andy, fantastic competition, not much in it. Beezy did look very comfortable, but Penelope gave her a good run for her money. Let's have a look and see where the title was won. Because here we have Beezy at the top, Penelope at the bottom. Let's see who had the edge and when.
See Beezy there just edging in front at the beginning of the round. But, you know, it's really neck and neck because at the end of it, there was only a few tenths of a second anyway. And I think you'll find that the turn to the second last is pretty crucial for Beezy.
Penelope just has the edge at this stage.
Yeah, she's got nothing in it there, but just watch the turn, eating up the ground there. That's where Cortez has got a bigger stride. And then actually stood off the fence, and that's where it was won.
That was the crucial turn,
That was
wasn't
the
it?
turn that did it.
Yep, the turn into the penultimate, and then
down
just
to the
ran
last
down
fence,
to the last.
she just kept coming.
Ran down to the last, and that was it. That's why the turns are so important. Looked so comfortable, never fighting the horse at any time, never broke the rhythm.
Yeah, and what I can't understand watching that is how Jess Mendoza actually went faster. I know she had a fence down, but you wouldn't think that was particularly possible. But that was how to ride a jump off in control.
Yeah.
She never looked in danger. It wasn't a risky round.
No, it looked very comfortable,
And
didn't
both
it?
of those rounds could have been worthy winners of any Grand Prix. Those two rounds, they were fantastic rounds. But Cortez really won it because of his stride across the arena to the second last.
And what looks like rideability.
He's very rideable, yeah. He listens, he doesn't get strong in the mouth, he doesn't throw his head about. Very, very level.
Okay, well, she's won the last two runnings of this competition. Let's see who she joins on the list of previous winners. The last 10 look like this. Not bad, is it, when you see two names back to back? There you go, Beezy, 2014 and 15. Ben Mayer, of course, he had a go today. He won it in 2013. Tim Stockdale, he'll be hoping to find a horse like Calico Bay before too long. And Rogerie Vost, he was riding today again. Another rider be hoping to find something good enough maybe for next year. But it's all about Beezy today. Well, the horse Cortez C, still a relatively young horse in show jumping condition, so lots to look forward to with him with regard to the Olympics. But as far as the European Championships, they take place in Aachen this month, and I don't know if Di Lampard's going to have sleepless nights or not, but there's an awful lot for her to digest.
Yeah, because there's an awful lot happened in the last few weeks for her to mull over, and obviously we have spoken about Jess Mendoza. She wasn't picked for the team here, although she was on the squad. She was disappointed by that, but she's done herself no favours to no harm today. And I think that she's got to be in the reckoning.
Well, you've come up with a potential squad, so we can have a little look at that. I know that you always thought Jess was absolutely nailed on to get on the team, and you've been justified with that by her performance today. Talk us through the others.
Well, Joe Clee on Ultimo, he jumped, he's kept it fairly low profile, but he jumped double clear in the ranking class yesterday, and he's heading off to Dublin for the Nations Cup next week. And that horse has been so reliable all season.
Yeah, I tell you what, we'll come back and reflect on that in a moment or two's time, because let's hear from one of the ladies of the moment, because Jess Mendoza is speaking with Hannah.
Jessica, that was a fantastic jump-off round. Unlucky there at the end. How do you feel with that result?
She jumped great, so I couldn't have asked any more from her. I think maybe it was just a bit far off the last. But
you really gave it everything you've got. I think the whole crowd jumped those last two fences with you.
Yeah, I knew she was going, she was quick, so I had to give it my all.
And when you cleared that penultimate fence, what were you thinking going into the last?
Gallop, but I think I did that too much.
And looking ahead, what's next for you now?
I'm not sure really. I've got to see what happens, but yeah, we'll see.
Well, whatever, we wish you the very, very best and sure you'll have much success in the future. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Well, I should think she says she's not sure because she doesn't know if Di's going to pick her or not.
Yeah, there's a few things going on behind the scenes that I know that she isn't actually quite sure where she's going next.
Right, well, let's have a look at her performance again, because you were saying you weren't sure how anybody could actually go any faster than Beezy did, but Jessica did. We've seen this as it's been her trademark since we've watched her on pony. She's absolutely fearless. Is she really as fearless as she seems?
Yeah, I mean, I first came across Jess when she was 8 years old and got involved with her training, and I've never seen anyone naturally as quick on a horse in my life. So here she gallops on the angle, sees the stride from a mile away, which has always been a trademark of someone that's fast against the clock. Very tight turn there, and she had to take some chances. She knew that she wasn't quite on the pace because she actually put an extra stride in from 1 to 2 because she doesn't have such a long striding horse. That was a great turn. And here she really went for it. She took a chance and tried to stand off, and actually Spirit popped another stride in. But then, typical Jess, she doesn't take any prisoners. She then had to take one out. And she tried to take the stride out, didn't quite get there.
But I mean, you have to take those chances because that's what wins major titles.
Most riders would have said, OK, I'm not going to win. I'll just steady up and pop the last fence. Not Jess. She went for it.
I saw Paul, actually, her father Paul, in between the rounds, and he was saying to us about Spirit Tea and what a smashing mare she is. And I think the pair of them could well be heading off to Aachen later this month.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that's crept in the last few weeks because, you know, with other horses and riders dropping by the wayside, you know, you do have to take that very seriously for her. And then, you know, the other riders I've mentioned, Ben Mayer particularly this week.
Yeah, we can have a look at him this week because, of course, he was in Nations Cup action on Friday on Diva. Diva, he was saying he jumped her today because she was in such good form and he has to take those opportunities with her. I don't know if that means that she's maybe not as consistent as you'd need on it as a team horse, but she deserves her
Quite
place.
honestly, this week, double clear on the Nations Cup and one down, you know, today. I think that's put Ben on the team for me. He's a world-class rider. He can perform on the day.
Yeah.
I would definitely have him in my team.
And of course, the rider we haven't seen a great deal of this week, as we get swatted by wasps. I'm jumping, Andy. You can hold the fort. Is Scott Brash, because of course we know that he'd said Sanctos wasn't going to the Europeans.
Yeah.
He wants the horse obviously to be competing for that €1 million bonus in the Rolex Grand Slam, which is live on Sky Sports from Spruce Meadows. Sanctos is a top horse, but he's not getting any younger. They've got to manage him.
Yeah, well, we have to accept Sanctos is not going, end of. So what that means now is that we were hoping to see Hello Milady, which is his second horse, in action this week. She's had a minor problem. Whether she's going to make it to Dublin is unclear, but Dublin is next week. If he doesn't go with Milady to Dublin and prove himself there, then there's no way that we can pick Scott for the team. So there are a lot of things happening behind the scenes before we actually work it all out.
Yep, there's an awful lot for Di to digest and to contemplate over the next few days. And she was here standing watching all of the British riders go, and she's there offering a word of advice. And William, whilst we haven't mentioned him, he's not done a huge amount wrong today.
No, that was a terrific effort from him, and he jumped like he always does, with a great deal of control and style. His horse showed scope and ability, and Fandango's already been on teams this year and gone well. So William's chance is still there.
Yeah, it certainly is. He's in with a shout as well, but we thought Holly Gillett might have been in there. It's not quite been her show this week.
No, you know, it's tough, this game, isn't it? You're in that arena, you're exposed, you have to perform. Ben Mayer and Diva did perform, and unfortunately Holly Gillett and Dougie Douglas didn't quite measure up this week. So that's the way it goes.
Lots to look forward to in the show jumping world. If you were chef to keep and if you were there, would you be felt relatively relaxed about the state of British show jumping at the moment?
I think you would, because you've got the depth of these other young riders coming on, and we know that with Scott Brash and Ben Mayer and the other horses and riders that are established as well, I still think we've got strength and depth to do the job.
Certainly have, but it was all about America today.
It was.
Beasley Madden, thank you very much, Andy. Okay. It's been a great few days show jumping, of course. If you missed any of it, any of tonight's action, you can enjoy it all again. 9 o'clock this evening, Sky Sports 5 for the highlights of what's been a magnificent day's show jumping. And you can join us again. We mentioned the fact that Scott Brash was bidding for a €1 million bonus. Well, that's coming up for you on Sunday, September the 13th. It's the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping from Spruce Meadows. We'll be live on air at 7 o'clock. Join us then on Sky Sports 4. But it's all been about Beasley Madden. Back-to-back wins in the King George V Gold Cup. Congratulations to her and all of our winners. Goodbye.
I'd rather be.
Enjoy Sky Sports Live on all screens, on the go, and the best bits on demand.